All right, we're slowly healing after what was a wild Sunday night here at Talladega. The question is, can we do it again on a Monday night? I think I know the answer, but we do have to wait 108 laps to figure that out here this evening. It's round number 10 of the Sim500 NC811.org Cup Series from the virtual Talladega Superspeedway as we welcome you into this monstrosity of a racetrack, one that was built back in 1969, and well, it's only gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger since. The usual weather, as you see on the screen, the iRacing default is what we have tonight on this 2.66 mile oval, and I am the captain, Chris Scala, of course, with Kevin England, fresh from visiting his cousin Ben. Do you know who Ben is by chance there, Kev? Nope, not Ben Franklin, as you just guessed with the mic muted, but I got you on. No, Ben. You've never heard of Ben? That's the name of the track.
No, didn't know that.
Yeah, Bend Over.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Come on. Come on.
Come on. Try the veal. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Talladega.
All right. Yep. You were down there, Kevin, at the track this afternoon at Dover, so you're probably tired from the drivers, but what a race that was. Now we're here at Talladega tonight, ready to rock and roll. You were on track last night. You were a part of that oil slick that hit on pit road, it seemed like. And but what are we going to see tonight?
White knuckles. I really feel like these guys are going to be in a tenuous spot because it's so hard to get track position. It seems funny to say that about Talladega, but everybody's running wide out, and as those laps tick down, it's just going to ramp up the anticipation of trying to get yourself a win here tonight. And quite frankly, anybody could win, so this is just going to be outstanding.
That's why we run the race. And, of course, 4 drivers in for Dash for Cash tonight, which is good. And, of course, Tyler Dalton just went out and ran a pole lap, as we expected. Scott Stenzel jumps up to second with a 52-20 or 53-25 as we're watching some qualifying going on. Some cars just now getting on to the track, including Donnie Leah in this Haviland car. But we do have 4 drivers, as mentioned, in the Dash for Cash. That's going to add some pressure to some of these drivers.
Yeah, I think honestly, as much as they'd like to have some of that cash, and who wouldn't, a win for Sim500 is equally as valuable. So I think they'll trade for either one of them. What a bonus. You win here tonight, you win a little cash, and you get to represent call before you dig. And, you know, I think these guys are, that's in the back of their mind, but the first thing is you got to get your game face on here. You've got to make clean passes. You got to find your partners to work with, and it would help if you start out front. I don't know, you know, we watched a race last night. You can drive from the back, but the farther you come through the field, the harder it is to get all that position.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, especially with this car, because this car has had some notorious issues, especially in real life, with running more than 2x2. Now, of course, the Talladega race a couple weeks ago, they had no problem doing it, but that was more because they were fuel saving, so it opened up a third lane of racing. So the question tonight, will we see 3 groups?
I think you have to. In order for anybody to make the lines move, if you have a car in front of you and you're boxed in on the bottom with a car to the outside, the only way you're going to go forward is go out to no man's land. This racetrack affords 3, even dare I say 4 lanes, and if you want to come forward, especially at the end when everybody is just on kill, you've got to go to the outside. And one thing that we've seen consistently with this car on this track, that outside lane is a good place to go in the waning laps.
Absolutely. Of course, that was the 811 pole award they were racing for, and Tyler Dalton once again has got it. So pole number 151, have a drink for him tonight. That's a strong one, by the way. And congratulations to Tyler on winning the pole. We're not going to talk to him this time because last night I talked to him, and of course he and the Justin Fuller automobile collected each other in the big wreck, which was the only caution last night. So we're just going to leave him alone and let him go do his thing. He's probably down there like, oh, they're going to pull me up any minute. But no, we're not going to. We're going to leave his fate out there and let him race. So just a big shout out to 811. And always make sure you call before you dig. And a big shout out to them for sponsoring the Pull Award. All right, point standings. So we had a little change last week, of course, with Mojica dominating the race at Iowa and going to victory lane. It was Iowa. Yeah, it was Iowa. And dominating that race, he went to victory lane and cut that points lead down to 3 on Chad Coleman. And, of course, Mike Kelly's right there. Comstock, Bentley Glazier, all the way down to 20th. Jose Speedy Gonzalez there is 1 point ahead. Kevin DeBrown down to 25th, which is about a 35-point difference right now. Still plenty of races, though, in this season to go. A little more urgent on the Grand National side because a lot shorter of a season than we do see in the Cup side of things. As we pull up the starting lineup, as you'll see across the top of the screen with Tyler Dalton and Jimmy Coleman on the front row with Stenzel and Bob Gillenwater, who had a good run last night going. But
yes, you did.
I anxious to see here because we got 42 cars on the grid ready to rock and roll. 108 laps, a little bit bigger fuel cells. I wonder if we're going to see that wildness to start like we think.
I think in general, the first part of the race is find your partners. Depending on how things qualify, you want to get with your teammates. We see the team name team, they're going to come together. Team Mafia going to come together. We saw it last night in the race. They hooked up and they got together. They tried to control the race the best they can by controlling the lines, controlling the runs. And I suspect the first 10 laps or so, everybody's going to try and find their teammates.
And maybe even get a feel out there on the track for what they have going on out there on the grid.
Didn't have a sense of a lot of tire wear at this racetrack, so from that standpoint, the handling is not that bad. But we have seen with the temperatures, the way this track races, sometimes the car gets a little squirrely coming up out of the corner, gets loose, gets sideways, becomes a bit of a handful, especially on that lower line. So we'll see if that manifests tonight.
All right, let's take a look at the race information for tonight, and this time I got the screen right. 108 laps, 3 sets of tires in the pits, 100% fuel, which I'm thinking somewhere between 37, I'm going to go wide here, 37 and 45 laps, somewhere in that range. You're going to see these cars coming to pit road, which automatically makes it a 2-stopper to the finish. Previous winners, another one of those tracks where it's multiple winners. Now, here's an interesting one. 2022, Chad Coleman won. 2019, Chad Cole won. One and the same, or is that 2 different people? Because, I mean, the only thing missing is a man. Not.
I don't think I've ever raced a Chad Cole.
Right.
But it is possible.
That's what it says on the screen, at least over on SimRacer Hub. Kyle Trask won in 2020. Joshua Williams, not sure if that's the Josh Williams, in 2021. And then Jose Speedy Gonzalez back in 2018 won this race. So, I don't know, man.
Just all guys on a given Sunday, given Monday, as the case would be for us here in the Call 811 series, that this is the type of racetrack where they feel like they've got an even shot with everybody else. So I suspect we're going to see some players here tonight. Look at the 3 car. That car is always fast in qualifying and runs really well at these type of tracks.
Yeah, he ran well, led some laps last night, and as Larry Mack likes to say, if you're in it, you can win it. As we come to the green flag, it's round 10, Dash for Cash, underway from Talladega. Jimmy Coleman, good start. That might be a team start right there. Let's see if Coleman moves down to get in front of Tyler Dalton here. He does not. He's got Gillenwater pushing, though.
Outstanding person to have on your back bumper is Bob Unwater. Definitely way this racetrack.
Look up top. The train of E.J. O'Rourke and Justin Fuller.
That didn't take long, did it?
And no, it took all of a half a corner. By the way, our cameras tonight, before something happens, presented by TrackCams22.com. You can check them out online on Facebook and in the iRacing forums. They are at TrackCams22.com. Now, last night, and I said it today on Twitter, which is that thing, by the way, that Elon Musk apparently owns. I said that last night's race is up near the top of the broadcasted races I've ever covered. Will tonight one-up it, is the million-dollar question.
I can't believe why it wouldn't.
Right?
These guys, if that's any sign where EJ and Fuller jump right out in the beginning, make everybody nervous before they even get lap one in the books. Yeah, I think that's a good sign to say we're going to have a fun race here tonight. And you got Donnie Leah back in the mix here this week.
He's a Dash for Cash driver.
So, you know, there's a bunch of storylines to follow here tonight at Talladega.
As a matter of fact, as this race goes on, you're going to notice over on the left side right now, I haven't put it in green yet, but I am going to change the color numbers of the four drivers so that everybody knows who is in the Dash for Cash. But Jimmy Coleman leading right now as these cars hauling about 195 miles an hour or so. 3 wide for the most part. You got that usual pack of cars back in the back just kind of hanging out.
And of course, you know, all this could go for naught. Your track position, your slicing, your dicing, or whatever, if you don't get onto pit road. Well, ask me how I know. And it's going to be one of those deals tonight where, you know, sometimes we get those long green flag runs. We don't wipe out half the field in the big one, proverbial big one, and you end up with it being a pit race.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, that makes things even more interesting because it tends to split the field up and whatever. So we just have to sign in, lean forward, and watch how this thing unfolds. And already, this is just crazy. 2 and 3 wide all the way through the pack here with that top line trying to get something done. EJ's car looks completely unstable up there behind.
They're all unstable. They're all unstable, and they're very unorganized. That's what's allowing us bottom line to kind of pull away here a little bit. One car jumps to the air. I thought he was going to bail out, but these cars are dancing. I mean, the 42 of Stenzel back there trying to push to 21. These cars, I mean, that could easily hook Fuller. And look how he's falling back. So, there's no organization right now in that middle and outside lane. And it's allowing the bottom right now, led by Coleman, just to kind of ride out there. Now, the one cool thing about this car when it was introduced to iRacing is if you get into a single file line, you can pretty much take this car wherever. You can go run the boards if you want to and run around Talladega and keep the speed, or you can run right down here on the bottom like Jimmy Coleman is with Jeff Ryan there, Bob Gillenwater, Tyler Dalton, and John Higman, your top 5.
Well, and the other thing these drivers have to be cognizant of is how do they push? You like to be pushed on the left rear bumper, not on the right rear. If you go into the corner, you'll turn the car sideways in front of you. And a lot of times you go up, you think you're going to get that nice, clean, straight-on hit, and the car in front of you catches the wind of the car next to it, dances sideways, and you get that inadvertent turn sideways. And I felt yesterday when you come down through this tri-oval, turn the car down by the Geico restart line, kind of floats up in a 4-wheel drift all the way across that line, and you have to somewhat catch it depending on how you drive through the corner. So it's not slot car racing. There's a lot of driving going on there as you wheel the car around and try and keep it, without banging the fenders off next to the car, behind you, alongside you, to your left, to your right, behind, in front of you, whatever. It's crazy trying to keep your acumen as to what you're doing.
To what?
Acumen.
It's a big word, dude. That's
that long though. ACU.
Hooked on phonics.
Nice.
Hey, never mind. I'm not gonna get into that line.
I know, Florida.
Well, no, it's not that. It's. okay, look, I'm not here to obviously make fun of people that might not be the smartest in the world or whatever. I mean, we all have our own intelligent levels. But let's face it, if you're calling Hooked on Phonics, it's because you're having trouble maybe with learning and things like that. So why do we put the alphabet as the phone number like we know it? Just a thought. Anyways, that doesn't exist anymore, by the way, I don't think. I've never.
If you look at the way these cars come down the backstretch, you would think you're driving to get the groceries, but you're not. They're wobbling left, right, all over the place.
Oh, hold on, one on the apron. Fuller got turned almost.
Yeah, when you're in the car, that's what it feels like.
Well,
right? It just feels completely unstable. The best description I think that I've heard and have come up with is like a kite in the wind, right? Left, right, fluttering back and forth. Gala kites. You ever hear of them? When I was a kid, they were the best.
Oh wait, that wasn't Fuller, by the way. It was another 811 car because Fuller's going to the lead right now.
Fuller's out front. Yes, sir.
Maybe it was some other 811 car that got turned sideways back there.
Maybe Scott Simley?
Could have been. All right, so for those on the left, if you see Comstock right there in 8th, you see the dark. Oh, into the wall goes 2 cars. EJ O'Rourke's one of them. And I think the 77 of Ferrari's the other. I'm trying to explain it, but they're being rude. But no, in all seriousness, though, Comstock, you see him in the 13 car on the screen. You'll see that dark forest green. Those are the cars that are in the running for the money of the Dash for Cash. So Comstock, Donnie Leah, Tommy Ryan, and Pedro Mojica are your 4 drivers.
I think I have lost track as to who's led every lap, and we're only on lap number 9. It's just too hard to keep track of.
You know what the best way to do here is? Just wait till after the race and go look. But now we've got ourselves 3 separate packs here because of what's happened. Fuller getting pushed by Stenzel. Down on the bottom, Jeff Ryan is given the push. All right, now I'm getting personal comfort cars mixed up. The 30 is on the top side of Macklin.
Macklin, yes.
And Stenzel's on the bottom. O'Rourke's back there leading the second pack. He's about to get trained, actually. And that's a pack being led by the different paint scheme of the 81. That's different colors. The Mohawk number 81 as Robert Ferry comes to pit road, unscheduled pit stop. Now the question is, who was that car that almost went to the infield in turn 3 and 4 last lap?
I do think you might have had it right with the 12 of Scott Simley, but I'm watching EJ O'Rourke drop like a rock. I'm not sure whether he's damaged but he's back to 20 plus. The field is broken in half. The top 15 have gotten away, and you got to say something about Brian Macklin, 3-time Daytona winner, season opener, 3 in a row. And you can imagine that if he has all the fenders on it, he's going to be a force at the end of this race.
I want to bring this up to you because I want to exaggerate on that comment right there, because how many races have we done this season where I've popped the list up of previous winners and there's no repeats? And then you go as Jatina goes to the front. We go to this Daytona race and one guy's won it 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, that's big in this series.
I don't know. Yeah. I also look at, anytime we come to this track, the first one you have to circle is the 10 car.
Yeah.
How many times on these super speedways has the 10 car just found his way there? When you think about super speedway racing, Beasley's a name you have to circle. The guy's an ace.
And there you see Brian Macklin riding on board with him behind the Victrix GT of John Higman. Robert Ferrari, I think, is taking his car behind the wall, unfortunately, at 77. Tough run for a guy that had a couple good runs here so far this season.
You got the top group with Anthony Calantoni running 27th right behind that group. Then a pretty big gap back to the 49 of Justin Mons. His Camaro is being hassled by the number 11 of Ron Hollifield. And EJ O'Rourke has dropped back behind them. So, maybe some of these guys out back are just waiting for that big one to occur. I think, Chris, is a pretty sound strategy to run the first half of the race really conservatively.
I want to be the last car. I want to be where Brian Wortman is in this race. I've always been that way, and I still feel this way today. I said it, I even showed it last night, and I explained it. When you're the last car in line, you have control of 99% of everything because you're not getting ran over from behind.
Right.
So I want to be there. So if the
and if you run into something, it's your fault.
Exactly. That's because your brakes didn't work. I'm still trying to find who that car was that went sideways, but I don't think I'm going to be able to find it, unfortunately. Matt could go back to it was on lap 8 when it happened. Let's go back to it, see if we can find it. It was turn 3 and 4, and it was a 811 car. And you said it might have been Scott Simley, so let's go to Scott.
I saw a green one down on the yellow.
And when you see this car get turned, you're going to be like, yo. And I cannot find Scott Simley's name on my list. There it is.
So while you're hunting for Wabbit,
all right.
While you're doing that, I wanted to talk about the 04, Doug Sigmund. Last night, we talk about running the back, running up in the front. Characteristically, Doug likes to run in the back, just kind of pace himself, get himself to the finish. He'll race at the end. And last night, he ran himself up into the mix, and I watched him go by, and I said, look at him. Good for him.
Right?
I felt so bad for him.
All right, so actually, I found the lap. I'm sorry. No, I was going to say, I found the lap that, the wreck that happened with E.J. O'Rourke. Let's watch this right here.
There you go.
I think he just went to get up in the top groove, and Ferrari was just coming with momentum. I don't know if that was a spotter failure or what that was all about. So that was on lap 8, so that's where it's put, unfortunately, Ferrari behind the wall. And I think I know the car. Yeah, it's that car right back there. It is the 2 car of I think it's the 2.
Got a white roof.
It's got the white roof. Watch that white car, 3rd car from the back here. I mean, that car is almost wrecking right there. That's the 2 of Mike Kelly. Yep.
Catching it sideways. Kyle Busch-esque.
Well, Busch had to save that thing about 4 times.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm glad I found that for everybody. Now we can go back to the race. So here we are now, that 2x2 pack as the tires wear a little bit here. It's not that 3-wide racing.
How do we find the, go pick up the Donnie Leah car?
The Donnie Leah car. Let's grab him. 23rd position here. And that 29.
Look, he's running right behind him.
Doy Woods, of course.
Another Haviland car. It's like yin and yang. They were together last week, and here they are again.
And you see Beasley's back there in that pack. As mentioned, Mike Kelly's falling back there. E.J. O'Rourke's back there. Simley. And unfortunately, Brian Wortman is not in the spot where I'd want to be right now. Oh, by the way, Brian Wortman's about to lose the lead lap.
There was some discussion last night amongst the drivers in post-race about lapped cars and where they're supposed to be. Originally in this series, they wanted you to go high. They made the call to change that, and they want you to be low. So Brian Wortman's going to drop down low, I would imagine, because he knows how that works, and let everybody cruise on by.
All right, venting here for a second. This league should not even have to bring that up. And I say that because, we've talked about it, and I've stated out here many times that this is probably the best series I've ever seen on iRacing when it comes to super speedway racing. These guys put on a show. There is no reason with all the experience that these guys have in this league that they cannot figure out or make a decision, like if Brian Wortman there, if he wants to stay in the high lane or wants to stay in the low lane, that these guys can't predict, okay, or Wortman says on the mic, hey, I'm staying in this lane, and at that point it becomes the leader's time to get around them.
Yeah. There's
no reason that a league should have to say, especially of this caliber, all right, we prefer you in this lane or the other.
I think it can go both ways. The number one rule as a sim racer, right, just down, is hold your lane. Whatever lane they get to you, if you're in the way, just stay where you are. They'll find their way around.
Right.
But I think they wanted to make it a little more predictable. That's really just what it's about, and try to lower the cautions by making it more predictable. Go high or go low.
Well,
and then when you're coming, you would expect that people are going to understand the guidance, rule of thumb, heuristic, whatever word you want to use, and follow that guidance and stay low.
I just know that I'll use Wortman as an example here. Brian Wortman, I've raced with enough for all these years to know that if he's going to get lapped right there, he would have said staying high.
Yeah, he knows, and he would communicate appropriately, right? But there are some people who show up here, come for their first race, and
right.
It might be something different with another league, you know?
Right. No, absolutely.
Just don't know. So in that context, knowing the lay of the land, one of the things I noticed watching these cars, they go into turn one, they kind of run low, everybody can get to the yellow line. The track kind of turns funny on the exit of the corner. Some drivers let the car sweep up and then they come back to the yellow line, and other drivers try to stay with that left front planted on the yellow line. And there's times when you see, for some reason, the car comes out of the corner, same for turn 4, occasionally. The car will hook, come back left, go into the apron, and then wander back out onto the racetrack.
Well,
there's no rhyme or reason as to why it does it.
Well, part of the reason is that setup. Remember, this is the same car at Daytona does something like that, where it kind of turns itself and beelines for the infield, and you have to kind of catch it. And it's something that, unfortunately, I don't know the answer to.
It just might have something to do with the caster and camber, and
probably.
We saw today that Kyle Larson had some issues. The right front got cleaned off of his car, and my brother and I were looking at the car, and he said, "Look at that right front, man! It looks screwed up." But I said, "No, they all look like that." The caster camber of the right front on a track like Dover is just amazing. That wheel looks like it's broken, but that's how they run it. And if you come through the corner and you're putting a lot of wheel in it, then you're changing the patch as to how it turns through the corner.
Right.
If it gets a little bit of grip, it hooks to the left.
Yeah.
You see, every lap, somebody inevitably will sweep down there on the yellow line. They don't do it on purpose. The car just hooks left, and you have to steer right back.
It goes in the yaw, basically, as you call it.
Yeah.
Look at this pack. So the second pack has obviously caught the first pack, and now we've got a huge... One car just net coated the outside wall, I think.
That's a 42 of Stenzel.
Oh, there they go! Wesley Donaldson's in the wall. Trying to get over to it. There it is. Jeff Ryan involved. Is that Calantoni in it? You sure is. Oh, and more people wrecking. I think Chad Coleman just clobbered the 91, maybe.
Yeah, something happened with John Fowler. He just hooked a left there.
Well, I saw somebody get out of shape up there in 1 and 2.
Oh, yeah. I see that. It looks like Doy Woods maybe got tagged a little bit.
And you have to forgive me. That's the one unfortunate... I love these cameras, and obviously I have nothing but praise for track cams. But the hardest thing with the gaming is me trying to click to the driver really quickly as they're wrecking over here, because then they're moving down the screen the whole time. It's almost like trying to play Duck Hunt to click their name. But here we go. Let's see if we can break this down. So look up top side. You see is that EJ O'Rourke up there with Doy Woods?
And it would be the 6th car behind the 28. Just give him a little...
Okay.
I think it was a bit of a checkup or a stack up or something that occurred.
Stenzel jumps up right there. That's going to check up O'Rourke. Montesi's almost scraping. Well, he might got... No, he didn't get loose.
I think they just came in, tagged the 28. The 28 wiggles to the left, catches the 48 of John Fowler.
So, yeah, there's the contact with O'Rourke to Stenzel. So, right there, Stenzel making that move, unfortunately, checks up the pack. That's just part of Superspeedway racing. And then, the 6 gets to the left rear of the 28. Sends him down into, is that Fowler you said there, that green car?
Correct.
And
whenever you tag a car and it comes right across, you know it's on. It's game on.
Yoakum, let's add him into it. I think that's Mons back there. Calantoni gets a piece after a runner-up finish last night. And then I want to stay, and as leaders are on pit road, by the way, but let's stay here for a second because obviously there's the pack in the back. And the one thing you got to be careful of, because your instincts here want to let you go. But this is where F3 comes into play. Here comes pretty much the team coming into play here. Wesley's going to take off.
Oh, man, hold the brake. That's what everybody's yelling at.
In comes Kevin DeBrown. Bink. In come... Okay, so Coleman actually didn't hit, but Kevin DeBrown got Wesley. Oh, and then Doug Sigmund, unfortunately, gets a piece of Kevin.
No.
Poor guy. So, always want to make sure you're clear before you make any moves like that. It's not
move until everybody goes by and everything's settled. There's going to be 30 seconds after the crash for everyone who's driving through to get past. Just hold your brake. Spoken like a Monday morning quarterback, I'm sure, but...
Well, and Fowler doesn't hold the brakes going down the track. That's
been
never good.
4 times this season from that type of thing where somebody didn't hold their brake and tried to drive out of it. Sometimes you just lose your sense.
Wham! Ooh, that's a harder lick than it looked, too.
Right there. There's still cars going. Yeah. Pulled up in the only lane that someone had to go around the outside. You have to ride with the 81 going through that. He did a
81?
spectacular job.
That would be Josh Parker?
Yep, Josh Parker. Okay, sees it, hard on the binders, slowing down, smoke, can't tell what's what, and finds a hole. Okay, I'll go over here. Nice job. That's harder than it looks.
Yes.
It may look simple from that view, but let me tell you, when you're making your decision, that's a masterful job of driving through that.
Absolutely. This car's going to go in and top off, it looks like here. Let's step away for a quick second here. A word from our sponsor, 811.
If recent storms have caused damage to your property, contact 811 before you begin your cleanup. Buried utilities around uprooted trees can make a bad situation worse if those lines are not located before digging. Electric, natural gas, and internet lines are everywhere, and knowing where they are is the safest way to start any digging project. Call North Carolina 811 by dialing 811 or by using single address ticket on NC811.org or the NC811 app.
All right, back we are here at Talladega as 25 laps complete, almost to the quarter distance here. And we did have pit stops, and just going to do a quick recap of it. It looks like for the most part 2 tires in fuel, some 4 tires, but Joey Jatina and Glenn Campbell going to lead the race off of pit road. The only issue right now is my nose is trying to debate if it wants to sneeze or not. I think we're okay. Tyler Dalton going to be 3rd. Nelson Rivera 4th. John Hickman Jr. How about Patrick Colby in the 9 car? He is newer to the league, I believe. He started last week's racing at, he's driving at, I guess that would be would that be aqua? Or turquoise?
Yeah. Teal blue? It's almost like a sky blue.
Ah.
We're going to go back to... You know what I'm thinking? Happy little cloud.
That's a happy...
Maybe you mix a little Prussian blue.
Hey, who is it? Was it...
You paint a happy blue sky.
Who is it last week? We were talking about Bob Ross in the line or something?
Yeah. Bob Ross blue. That's what that is.
You're making me want to go watch Bob Ross later. Anyways, all right, coming back to the green. 25 laps complete is... Jatina, who's got some pretty good experience here in the old ARCA car back in the heyday, leads him to the green. And as always, this is like the one of 2 tracks here in Daytona, and I guess you could say iRacing Superspeedway. You wait until the green waves to go.
Look at that 22 sitting there on the lower line. Second in line.
Nelson Rivera. Yep.
Good run for Rivera getting up.
Now let's see what happens here, because last night we only had one caution. Now, are we going to have Daytona duel type races here where the first race is one, the second race is the opposite? Or are we going to have potentially one caution? We'll see. As Higman topside by himself right now. I don't know if he's purposely going backwards or not. As Tyler Dalton goes to the lead and Gentina jumps down there. I think he went with him. I don't think that was a block by any chance. They're usually in the same channel. But Gentina leading, and look who's second outside.
Ooh. Look at that. I love that car.
The IRA coming to the front. The Roth.
You have to love the Petty scheme, man. Iconic.
That is cool.
Jose Gonzalez having a good run right behind, pushing him out front. Now the decision is, do they stay to the high line? Do they want to run up high or come down low? A lot of times you work your way through the field. Maybe you came from 20th. Somebody's been on your back bumper helping you all the way through. And then you get there and you make sure your partner is clear before you pull down and claim the line that you want, top or bottom. In this case, they seem to be holding that top line and seem to be okay with it. And here comes Superspeedway tied. Richard Beasley to the bottom running third.
Joe Hudson dropped down off turn 4 and lost all the momentum there, and that allowed Beasley to come down. But look up top. Doy Woods in that Haviland car going to the front with Parker.
Characteristically, these two are formidable. They have a very similar, like, take no prisoners racing style. You know, Parker doesn't need to beat on the back bumper of that 28, but he beat on it all the way from turn 1 to the entry of turn 3. Just hammered him all the way down.
Well, that's pretty much what Kevin did last night when he pushed Calantoni out to the lead and then pretty much made the move back on him to win the race.
There were a lot of drivers talking about their cars being too hot.
Yeah.
When you're tucked in tight that way, it does compromise the car. The oil temperatures, water temperatures come up, and I was looking to see what happened to Kevin DeBrown and the 8, how they fared after that crash. Right now, DeBrown scored in 34th.
He's in he's in his own little line of cars, I think, back there with team name. He should be fine. These cars are very... Josh Parker was down in Montgomery just now, and for some reason. Yeah. I just looked up and saw a blue car merge back in. I'm like, wait a minute. Now, what you saw what you saw just now is with the pack being spread out, that was because a lot of these cars were doing the tandem just now, and it spread the pack out. But as you know, it accordions back together, so that is something I think is going to play a factor here as Roth goes back to the lead. Interesting to see an STP car passing a Haviland car for the lead.
Yeah, but a moment ago we saw the 81 push to the lead, Doy Woods. And he didn't stay with him. He went down alongside of him. When they did and got side by side, that opened the air channel for everybody else to draw up, because two cars running side by side really suck up the cars behind him and pulled everybody back in. And now look at them. They're almost like a 195 mile an hour pace lap the way they run into turn 3 into the banking.
As Donnie Leah goes to the front, and your brother speaking over here on YouTube, by the way. Petty Blue, by his recall, same as your other car. Bob Ross Blue is like Empire Blue.
Empire Blue. Frankie Schneider Blue. Yes, I know that reference. Most people don't, but red, white, and blue, number 2 Deuce, one of the most famous modified drivers up in the Northeast and around. He's a NASCAR champion, and his cars had that color blue in the rims, and he called it Empire Blue.
Huh. Was he from New York, I assume?
New Jersey.
That makes sense. Okay. Yep.
Raced on the beach down there, you know, back in those days, and raced all through NASCAR in the 50s. A lot of the Fonty Flock and all those people. There was someone local here who said, I thought much of him one day when Richard Petty came to Flemington Speedway, and he walked right up and talked to Frankie Schneider. And that's when I gained respect for Frankie Schneider.
Man, I tell you what, there are some guys up here in this top line right now that we're like, man, I wish this race was 35 laps. I mean, look up here at the top. We got Doug Roth. You've got Casey Duncan, who, by the way, has a Grand National Series win here. You got Colby, who's battling here. Gerald Livingston's in 8th.
Jatina's back to 15th. He was just leading a moment ago. That's quickly things flip. So as much as I thought that they would kind of stay locked in and protect the people from being able to climb tonight, it really seems like if you've got the run, you can make it through with this car.
We got to remember, this car, unlike the Grand National car, the Grand National car puts out a big wake, and it allows cars to draft anywhere. The wake of this next-gen car, the best way for me to show you what the wake is of this car is let's go to the rear of a car here. Okay, so this is Bentley Glacier. Literally from the left side of that spoiler to the right side of that spoiler and straight back is the wake of this car. If you're hypothetically Doug Sigmund right now, you're not feeling Glazier's wake, but look at that run that the 38 of Coleman just got from that wake. So basically what I'm trying to say is if you get out of line, then if there is nobody in front of you to pull you along or whatever, the car, it hits a wall. Literally, it just slows down. So you'll notice when cars jump out of line here with a run, they got to make sure that they're either behind somebody or have somebody pushing, or else it's literally like a single car out there on its own lane. And it's only in this car that happens.
There's one other thing that becomes a huge factor in this race for that type of dynamic, which is you saw the draw up that the cars get. You can lay off the car in front of you, get the draw down the backstretch, and ease out and almost coast through 3 and 4 with the draft, and you're not full throttle. You're saving fuel.
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
And so fuel savings in the pack can be monumental. Some of these guys are just amazing.
Hudson just dropped to the bottom real quickly there, almost cleared himself. And look at Leah just pushing him. Now, they say those Fords have a better nose for pushing here.
I'll tell you, it really makes you nervous when you're sitting back there like 5th or 6th and you see those guys out front being super aggressive. You're just waiting for them to clean out the pack, especially if you're on the bottom line. Maybe you're going down the backstretch and you have an escape lane, but when you're in the corners, it's all hard to turn down and get out of that.
These cars bobble and move around. But the one thing you do not want to do is, you just saw Roth there slide up the track a little bit as he starts to fall back there in that top groove. Gonzalez, very smart, did not get up there and push him. Because if you get up there and you make a push in that left rear of that car, you're taking about 30 cars with you. As Leah gets a good push from, I think it's Comstock, top side.
How many times have we called Comstock in the top 5 in the last number of races? He's just always up there. He's got the speed.
Oh, he might have got himself shuffled out. Oh, no, he did a good job getting back in line. I think Jose helped him a little bit. Now, the one thing I worried about there, when they made that move, it almost looked like they had killed their own momentum by swapping 3 lanes up the track, but it definitely worked out for them in the end. But as you see, lead change galore, 36 laps in. We pitted at lap 23 for those curious. So right now we're looking at about lap 65, I would say. That would be 42 laps. So we'll call 60 to 65, which then opens up it to be 43 laps. So I think you have to get to lap 65 in order to go the distance on one stop here. This is fantastic.
Have you ever seen a flounder fish on the bottom of the ocean?
Not on the bottom of the ocean.
That's how flounders are. They're flat like a doormat. And they have eyes, 2 eyes on the top of their head. They're bottom feeders. They flutter on the bottom like a doormat. That's what they're literally referred to. I'm going to talk about the doormat phenomenon for a couple of these guys.
Hey, real quickly, not to cut you off, I'll let you finish in a second. Look who's the car up on the high side there, 6th car in line. I'm showing him on my screen. That's Kevin DeBrown, who literally was in that last wreck.
Yeah, the car looks none the worse for wear.
Yeah.
Look at it, the back, the front.
He's good.
Patched it up. Looks pretty good.
Now continue with your flounder story.
just a little seam on that left front fender.
So he unfortunately has a lot of... Casey Duncan drops down.
Mm.
All right, real quickly, could you hit that flounder story?
Okay. Bottom feeders,
okay.
44. Looking at Glenn Campbell. We haven't mentioned Glenn's name tonight. Some of these guys like to park themselves on that yellow line. Very traditional. Run right down on the bottom. They're not looking to make the moves. They get up in the front. What's the point? You're not even... I see other drivers right there tucked in behind them. Ron Hollifield, not made a lot of noise in the 11 car. And, you know, I see Charles Woods back there in that number 40 car, the post office car. They're just sitting back there quietly around 20th to 25th on the bottom, just kind of minding their P's and Q's. Now, I don't know if they love to be right in the middle of the mix, but they can quietly hide there and, like a flounder, be a bottom feeder and just kind of pace themselves. And if something does happen, as long as they leave enough space to get on the brakes and try and find evasive action, they can get away, but they don't lose the draft, because this is a key thing. You need to be somewhere near the front pit cycle start.
Well,
because it seems like every time the front group pits, they drive away from everybody. You can't be too far in the back.
I think to add to that story, too, is one thing you're taught when you're in a development series like the ARCA series, and Joey Jattina can probably talk about this a little bit more in person than I could. One of the things you're taught to do is stay that yellow line. The reason being is every racing... we're about to go 4 wide here. We're about to be 5 wide for a split second. But I was going to say is you're taught in those series, because majority of them use the yellow line as a rule. You can't pass below it. So what they say is, all right, we want you to run that yellow line and don't leave it. Keep it as your friend. And they let them learn to draft that way. And I think that kind of has a part to do with this, because also at the bottom side, you have more room to get out. If you have to avoid a wreck, there's more room to the bottom than there is the wall. But don't tell these guys that. They're just having a blast. Viewers, I hope you're enjoying this like we are right now. This is fun. Makes me want to go tell Joey, can we just pick let's make a night of Superspeedway series, and I'll just broadcast it.
Yeah, they used to.
Well, we do it during the off season.
Yeah. I just watched the 15 come out of the corner, and thing that I talked about where the car waves really wide. Well, he had a handful there. You know, there's times when these drivers run the middle. They don't talk much about side draft in this particular car, but on a Superspeedway, just by habit, you get on that outside lane, you come down and suck the bottom lane by pulling over next to their rear wheel. The air coming off the front of your car dumps air on the spoiler, and then you turn up and you slingshot around them, and that high line tends to be able to march their way forward. Big checkup out of turn number 4, right around the 5th, 6th, 7th position there in the back of the line.
They're going to shuffle Fuller there, I think.
Saw Justin Mines definitely hard on the brake.
Oh, right. Fuller. He just made the one mistake you do not want to do on a Superspeedway track. If you are up in the front, number 1 rule, when you have a decision where you want to go, you need to pick that lane and get to it. Fuller got shuffled out of the top lane, and it almost seemed like he was indecisive to go to the bottom or try to side draft, and before he knew it, Joey Jattina was at his bottom and couldn't get in, and went 3 wide in the middle.
He could have just made a decision that he wasn't carrying enough speed to go down there and block that line.
Just go to the bottom, yeah. But then O'Rourke just made a nice
move. Right? What we talked about earlier.
O'Rourke just made a nice move, go 3 wide outside and got that line rolling up top there. But look at Beasley now on the bottom side here.
Yep, everybody knows that Beasley is good. Everybody knows that.
He's got his fan club, too.
Dalton is good. Everybody knows that. Jose, back again. Good to see him in with the Trans-Service Toyota. He's good on these races, and the 3 of them together, it's not very dissimilar to find the people who are really good at restrictor plate racing and latch on to their bumpers. Do what they do.
It's not even a matter of who's good or who's not on super speedways in this case. It's a matter of everybody's good. I mean, look at what we got on the track right now.
Yeah, right now, it's just kill or be killed, it seems like.
I mean, 9 times out of 10, any other league we're around right now, with the cars moving around the way they are, shuffling lanes, doing all this juking and jiving, they're wrecking somewhere. These guys are able to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're sitting here almost grimacing and holding onto our desk like, every time they make a move.
Sound like we're having a seizure or something.
Yeah, well, you never know sometimes, huh?
Yeah.
Julius.
Yeah. It's astonishing to watch them. You know, when you ride in the car, it's one thing. It just seems like ain't nothing but a thing. But when you're watching it, it looks so much more dramatic.
Well, because we're not in it and we have no control.
Well, because we know the sensation because we've driven the hard and complicated it is.
Yeah.
And they make it all look easy.
As O'Rourke drives it to the bottom to the lead.
And
see, once again, see that move right there, I think is killing their momentum. Because look at DeBrown able to just carry it. And the reason why I say that and I question that right there, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin, but you're climbing a hill. And you're switching lanes.
I just don't know if it was a matter of trying to find your teammates behind them.
But does that make sense? I mean, because like right now you could switch lanes and you're okay. But when you're going into the front straightaway, you're climbing the banking to lane change. Could be me.
Pedro in second.
Wanting to win some money.
I cannot fathom the fact that Brown's car is still running so well that he's out in front of his pack. Unbelievable. After that hit.
And you would think, you talked about that crease. You know, how much is it affecting, how much is it bringing drag to that front pack, but it's not really doing much. Yep, wrong guy.
Well, two
motors.
Look at that. One, right? Two motors better than one?
Yeah, but still, that crease right there, that's got to be putting some drag in this car.
Yeah, no doubt. But for whatever reason, when you have somebody shoving you the right moves, it seems trivial, but even that little amount really makes a difference. But apparently not here.
Is there, I'm trying to, I mean, yeah, there's some drivers that have been at the back of the pack throughout this race, but for the most part, I mean, we've seen almost every driver at one point up here at the front. Oh, Beasley might have made the move he didn't want to make there, just got shuffled.
That was a tense moment out of four there. Justin Mons slid up into that high line. I don't think the car behind him, I'm not sure who that was anticipating it.
Well, Fuller's there right now, so maybe it was him.
I thought it was a blue car. Whoever it was saw it out of the corner of his eye, apparently, because he got on the binders enough to let him slip into that spot as he was sliding up the racetrack.
You know, one thing we did discuss, too, by the way, we had actually a little discussion on Facebook today. I was kind of joking and egging on Fuller and Tyler a little bit today. After that wreck last night, I said to Fuller, I said, hey, in all realistic here, we know what happened to that wreck last night. You and Tyler failed to use turn signals. But,
yeah.
no, but in the end last night, the one thing we did agree on is what we talk about with the spotters here. Again, iRacing, the apps you use and all that stuff, you don't have the commentary of somebody saying, hey, this car's right on your quarter panel. This car's right here at this point or that. You just simply have car high. You're in the middle three. Bottom three, yeah. Top three.
Coming back to the dynamic, when you're running the yellow line, you to your left, right?
Right.
Well, I'm going to play this into a really good moment here. When you're in the top line, you need to know what's below.
With 811
call. I'm telling you, at any moment, you could look to the left and somebody's there, 3 wide, 4 wide. You really can't anticipate it.
No. Absolutely right. As Gonzalez led that lap. And the 3 wide starting to form up again.
3 by 3 by 3 by 3 all the way through to about 15th here.
It's just awesome. Great. Oh, there goes. Wow. That's Joe Hudson, I think. Yeah, Joe Hudson hard into the inside wall with Mons. They're so far off the track, no caution. There's not going to be a caution.
Yeah, just 2 cars fighting for the same real estate. Boy, that's a tough break.
All right.
They both hit a ton over there.
All right, I'm going to add Higman to that. That could be a lot worse. Now, I will say this. Let's watch this view again because I did catch something here. Let's watch Mons as he's behind Hudson. It's almost like here's where Hudson, I kind of place this on both, and I say it from this standpoint. Hudson's kind of putting himself in the middle of nowhere here. This is, again, goes back to that whole you have to figure out what lane you want and make it quick. Because look right here. Hudson's committed to being behind Jose. Then Hudson kind of gets himself to, okay, I want to be in front of Kevin. No, wait, I want to be in front of Justin. You can't have them both.
Yeah, I think he just slid up and wasn't able to get back to center. I think he wanted to come back to center.
Now,
and again, he didn't know what was below.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Ironically, if you go to the live shot, guess what? These two are running nose to tail now. They have no choice but to work
with each other. Mm-hmm.
For caution to come out, right? So no matter what happened back as to who thought of what, fickle fate is a cruel mistress because they've got to run together here in open caution to get themselves back into this.
That's like you guys are going to argue. Now you guys got to hold hands.
Yeah.
All right, so we've calmed down for a split second here. Take a breath.
It's really weird because, at the end of the race, no holds barred. This race has been no holds barred from the green.
Start. Yeah.
They just have taken no prisoners, and yet one caution so far, and that was for the guy who's out front.
Go figure, right?
Yeah. So maybe they saw that and said, "Okay, we need to settle down a little."
Well, let me actually slightly correct you here. It wasn't for the car that was out front. He ended up being involved in it. But I should say 38 cars on the lead lap. As mentioned, Hudson and Mons now working together, trying to get themselves organized. They're 21 seconds back. They won't be as fast as the pack, but at least they'll give them a little more time where in case they do get lapped, it'll be a little bit longer. But, 38 cars, as I mentioned, on the lead lap. The one caution so far, 15 viewers. Appreciate you guys watching. If you're enjoying the view, enjoying the broadcast, make sure you tell some friends. Tell some viewers to come watch. I believe we got some 811 representatives watching also.
So Mons and Hudson running 37th and 38th, still on the lead lap. One car, one lap down. That's the 48 of John Fowler. And Montesi, Jeff Ryan, and Robert Friery, the three of them are off the pace many laps down. Still have quite a big contingent of drivers who have a shot at it.
And that's what it's all about, is you got to get to the end to win it. Now, the excitement can be barely, or the excitement can be a lot. Today, we've seen a lot. But the question is, when do these cars come to pit road? I said 65 is the magic number. I think they get to 65, it splits the run to where they do one stop to the rest of this race. Now, that could be part of the reason why you see cars swapping out the lead a lot. But then again, you look right now, Donnie Leah, I think, has led the most consecutive laps anyone has in this race. And I think they're trying to form an outside lane, but they don't seem to want to agree. And hey, here's the car that was involved in the first wreck, Wesley Donaldson.
Yes.
Inside lane.
Yeah, he was in that mix too. I do see strategy playing out for a couple drivers.
Okay.
Some of them have broken off that lead pack. They don't have enough of draft, I think, to drive up to them. They're being led right now by a guy who was sideways on the apron earlier, Mike Kelly. Charles Woods is in that mix. Bentley Glazer, have we said his name tonight? The Zildjian?
No.
Chevrolet? I don't think so. Right behind him is John Hagman, who his wounds and jumped right in there. And we've not talked about Gerald Livingston either. Now, we just need to write these names down, along with Kevin Stone in the Ford Performance number 17, is if something happens where the big one collects all those front cars, these guys could be the new shuffle the deck. You're going to come and contest for the win later.
Now, for those taking note, that means the next wreck is coming from one of those 5 cars right there.
No, it's not. No. We were coming back from Dover today, and GPS wanted me to turn to Route 1, and I said, I'm going to stay on Route 13. We came just where you get off to go to 295 to go over the Delaware Memorial Bridge and over to the right. There was this massive call before you dig call 11 billboard. It was really cool to see it. It was hanging out the window.
Literally a sign.
Yeah, it was neat.
That's awesome. You said Route 1. I'm used to calling it US 1 where I grew up.
US 1 in Delaware.
Well, in Florida for me. Which, for those who don't know, US 1 goes all the way from Maine to Florida. So, actually, it goes to the Keys, to Key West.
So we have a couple of these guys that were
right, or is it Turnpike?
Tickling the lead earlier, and they seem settled down some.
What in the world are you doing over there?
What was that? Yeah, my TV woke up over here. Like Doy Woods, he's hanging out the back. I think he, every once in a while you have a dose of reality and you decide, I've had enough excitement right now. Hang off the back of this pack and let a couple laps stick in. And there is a true, honest to goodness fatigue. Because the mental game of being able to not get yourself in trouble it'll wear you out in a race like that.
Well, yeah, because you're literally going through your mind right now and you're thinking, okay, do I go here? What lap do I want to go on? Okay, by the way, you're chatting with the others. When we pitting? Who's pitting where? Yada, yada. You're doing all these different things with each other. And then you're also trying to keep your eyes up ahead there, watching the pack. You're trying to make sure you're in the right spot. Oh, by the way, making sure all your buttons are set so you can pit. You got to communicate with the field. There's like 10 different things going on in this car right now, especially as they're getting closer to pit stops here. You've probably got 3 or 4 people like, all right, what lap we pitting on? And then they're over in Discord right now like, all right, we're going to try at this point, we're going to come pit. We're going to take 2 tires and this much fuel or whatever. There's so many different factors that, yes, it can get overwhelming and that kind of thing. But as you see real quickly, we're riding on board with Anthony Calantoni.
Yeah.
Who was also involved in that wreck, is up here in this pack.
I believe there's a period of reflection where these guys need to take a break. And to your point, they're going to figure out their strategy. They're starting to look at when they need to pit. Some of them went in and pitted. They would look at what the tire wear was at the report after pitting, and maybe that plays a factor. But if you're running where the 2 lines are wide, then really all you have to do is pace yourself on the car in front of you. Mm-hmm. And that takes a lot less concentration than diving up there and switching lanes and trying to read the air and whatever. It does feel like all of a sudden things just settle down. They're kind of riding right now, which is, okay. It's the other thing that we've not talked about is tire wear. We saw tire wear last night. Most of the drivers do it by a percentage, right? Because that's what Sim reports. My left sides were in the 80s after. Now that's the Xfinity car, but you tend to see anything that gets below 80s in the 80s and lower gets a little skatey. So it could be that this long into the run, the car not turning, not cutting, not holding as you drive through. Especially through the tri-oval, the car gets a little light through there. So I suspect handling may potentially come into impact here.
Which then leads me to this question. On this pit stop here, normally you would take, on a super speedway, you do 2 tires and fuel. Or whatever.
2 tires.
Cars. Are you doing that in this cup car?
Yes.
I say that because of how long
you're going to handle the bad handling. Trade that for the speed. Absolutely.
But here's the thing, though. How long it takes for you to fill the car up? Is it worth just go ahead and take the 4 tires?
No.
Okay.
It's not, because it'll take you out of the race completely. Anybody that doesn't will still handle well enough that they're going to drive and hold their position. But you can see every once in a while, it's in the shot, you'll see flames come out of the right side of the car. Right out of the headers, right underneath the number on these cars. Drivers let off, the unspent fuel comes out and comes through, and you'll see a pop of flame. Even going down the straightaway, they're wide open, all of a sudden, because they've got the run on the car in front of them. You'll see it occasionally here in Sim. We were watching it today when they come down the backstretch of Dover and go underneath the bridge. Mm-hmm. As soon as they let off, we saw Ross Chastain's big belch of fire every single time he let off. And I'm seeing it here with these guys. tucked in behind each other. They'll get a run up. They'll get right to the bumper, and they'll ease out of the throttle. That plane out of it.
So Brian Wortman came to pit road a minute ago, and that might have been more to get out of the way of the leaders coming through. But this time, Gerald Livingston has come to pit road, and I think this is actually a scheduled pit stop for the 96. So kind of pitting all by himself, which we'll see how that works out. But we gotta...
Jeff Ryan down there too, but he's many laps off the pace.
You gotta think pit stops are coming here in the next 3 laps. Look at Roth up top.
There's one telltale sign they dump off. Everybody got to the bottom line.
This is the team name guys all on pit road. Remember last night they pitted a lap before the main pack did. Everybody
and they got to a little bit of a distance in front of everybody.
And this is lap 63, so we got 2 tires at least going on. 4 tires on most of them. So yeah, I think what they're doing is with the fuel, it's like might as well just fill the tank up, or fill the tank up, and might as well get tires. Everybody sorts out, well organized.
Yeah, very well done.
And now here comes 3 more cars. Rivera, Doug Roth, and Calantoni. So 63 from 23 is exactly 40 laps. So these guys are going to need to find 4 laps of fuel somewhere, or else we're pitting again before this race ends.
So the most important thing for that first group, Leah, Mojica, Comstock, Brown, somewhat for Beasley and Parker, they're all right nose to tail. The guys in the back, Chad Coleman and whatever, are a little off of them, but I think they're going to stay together, which is important for carrying the speed to beat the second group that pitted and the third group and so on.
All right, let's see who comes this time. Gonzalez heading in, Wesley Donaldson, and Charles Woods, it looks like. Maybe Bentley Glazier. Yep, he's coming, so 4 cars here.
They're a little more spread out coming in. There were probably 4 car lengths between them.
And you mentioned the other group. By the way, Hudson and Mons made their pit stops 2 in this group. So interesting, you mentioned the separation. As a matter of fact, Parker and Coleman have had to get into the group with Rivera and those guys to be able to hang on.
Yeah, they lost that draft. They were back about 3 or 4 car lengths, and I just didn't think 2 cars, 4 cars, the 2 cars are never going to be able to keep the pace. So they're fortunate enough to pick somebody up.
And here comes some Sim500 Mafia guys. Casey Duncan's on pit road. So you saw Tommy Ryan and Simley on pit road also. It's that Kevin Stone, John Higman. So all these guys pitting kind of in segments here.
So you're not supposed to slide through the grass when you go through?
Preferably not.
Take the cone out? Get a penalty?
All 3 of you took the cone out. The cone just didn't move.
We all did, yeah. Well, the funny thing is all 3 of us slid the exact same way.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I'm like, was there an oil slick or something? I mean, the Benny Hill music could have played easily there last night.
Turns out.
All right, cars are spreading out here. I think they're all coming to pit roads. A group of 6 or 7 here, it looks like.
Should be 10 of them left to come in.
Everybody doing a good job.
There. Don't want to speed. Yeah, see how tight together they are? If they all hit the box and don't miss, then they can all come out together. Now, before I saw them through, some of them there were 4 or 5 car lengths in between them all.
Mm-hmm. Now, one factor last night I saw happen. There was an incident on pit road with Wetzel and Casey Duncan. One other factor I didn't bring up that I think can easily be talked about, is Joe Hudson's going to come by himself to pit road, is the factor of knowing your field in knowing your opponents on the track. And what I mean by that is doing your best to remember who on track started in front of you and who started behind you. Because if you have a car that you know has started behind you, they've got to come to pit road first. Right. So if you are in that inside lane, you got to realize, look, okay, this guy is up here in his top groove. You almost have to play defensive and think, you know what, he is going to likely turn left here and get on the brakes and let him turn left. Because one, he might not know you're down there. As Dalton, Stenzel, Macklin, and Colby are on pit road. It's very tough because guess what doesn't work on pit road at all? Your spotter. So that should cycle everybody back around. So Donnie,
and that's Leah's yellow is out.
Oh, caution. Tyler Dalton. Dalton, the 9s have gone around also.
That's something to come off of pit road there. I'm not sure what happened.
Oh, Dalton has no rear clip at all. There's another car in the grass down here. That's it's Glenn Campbell.
Yeah, Pedro Mojica absolutely killed Dalton. They came together trying to get off of pit road. Unfortunately, the contact brought them back out onto the racetrack with the charge.
No. All right, let's see the replay here. The guys.
I'm not sure what the heck that was all about there. Stenzel and the 19 came together.
Oh, and Dalton lost traction. Oh!
Right here? Yeah, nothing the 9 could do there. Oh, they got cleaned out. Pedro's going to have a headache. He needs a little whop whop fizz fizz for that one. Holy cow, he plugged in. There's parts and pieces laying there on the... Well, what do they say?
See, here's the...
Changes everything.
Bam! Add the 26 to that also. So I don't know... This is going to be an interesting debate right here. So obviously...
You want to see, in the post-race, you'll be able to tell who slipped up there. It's really hard to judge this.
That's going to be hard to... Now, I think by rule, there's not really a rule for it, but I think in the terms of who's running where, I think Simley had position, or not Simley, but Stenzel, and that's only because he was behind Macklin. But it also looks like Stenzel kind of stays shallow coming off the... that's just a tough one.
I'm going to talk about one other thing.
Yeah.
First stall and go through where the pace car is. It's slippery down there.
Yeah.
And I just wonder if Tyler's car broke traction as he was coming across. And he never really gathered it up, but he didn't want to give any...
That's a great question, and there's one way to find out. Let's go back on board. And let's actually back this up for a second, because what we want to see... Okay, Tyler did take 4 tires. So that was the first question. What tires did Tyler take? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Tyler took left sides only, which does help you with grip getting off pit road, but it's not 100% grip here. He's waiting on...
If the wheel is straight and the orange tape is solid center, then it's good. If the tape is moving left and right, then you know he's chasing the car up out of the pit box.
You know what? He's fighting it the whole time.
Right here, fighting. No grip. Tag, boom.
Yeah, that's a great call.
Don't think the car ever hooked up.
That's a great call, Kev. Wow. Well, this gives us a chance. Let's step away for a quick second here from our friends at 811 as we're under our second caution here at Talladega, lap 70 in the Sim500 NC811 Cup Series on the Captain Esports Network.
If recent storms have caused damage to your property, contact 811 before you begin your cleanup. Buried utilities around uprooted trees can make a bad situation worse if those lines are not located before digging. Electric, natural gas, and internet lines are everywhere, and knowing where they are is the safest way to start any digging project. Call North Carolina 811 by dialing 811 or by using single address ticket on NC811.org or the NC811 app.
All right, back. We are second caution out. Unfortunate situation. Tyler Dalton getting, I guess, contacted, we'll say, with the 42 of Scott Stenzel coming off pit road. Brought him back onto the track and took a couple of cars with him, one being Patrick Colby and others. Jose Gonzalez, I believe you said, was Pedro involved in that also with some damage?
Pedro, massive.
Mojica got some damage in that as I look up there. His car actually looks clean. So you might have gotten everything fixed.
Yeah, sorry, I think I had the wrong.
Might have been Glenn Campbell, I think you were talking about.
Glenn Campbell.
The 44 car, yeah. He was definitely involved, so.
But what's interesting is if you go inside the cockpit upon when cars came up across, they didn't know, especially if you're riding behind somebody, you have no warning. All of a sudden there's a car out in front of the racetrack. Just plowed them. Very reminiscent of what we saw with the NASCAR wreck where they took Kyle Larson's car to the R&D center. It's the same thing.
So Kevin Brown up here in the front now, and everybody pretty much at this point has come to pit road and should be good to go on fuel. So I think the fuel question just went bye-bye. As the people that pretty much caught a good break with this were the Hudson and Mons team. However, Hudson's still on pit road and has lost a lap. So I don't know if he had more damage than expected or whatnot there. So not sure what's going on with Joe Hudson, but Mons back up there in the pack now. Tommy Ryan, Randy Oakham, and others up in this pack now as we get ready to take the green here. And we'll have 37 laps to go as we do get to the green flag. Pace car is going to hang a left. He even just did a lane change like they've done tonight.
I was surprised today how close the pace car got to the barrels at Dover coming off the banking.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's...
He really cut
Kip
it.
Childers doing a good job there, but he probably does it on purpose. Anyways, hey, it's our chance right now, thanks to frontstretch.com. We're going to turn it up here at Talladega. We could do that all night, but yeah, I'm sure you want us to talk a little bit. As, man, they've been switching leads left and right here, picking up right where they left off. And, oh, by the way, Turn It Up, presented by FrontStretch.com. Get a recap of the Dover race. Find out, well, if you didn't see the race today, which driver wanted to actually go punch Ross Chastain. It's an interview, and it's on the website, and it's also on the YouTube page. And so many recaps, a preview of next week's race at Darlington, and so much more. And, uh-oh, the outside line is starting to form. Ooh, almost some contact there. O'Rourke had to hang a left there and almost hit Randy Oakham. That could have been bad. But check out FrontStretch.com. I thought we were going to see the train start forming up top, but just all of a sudden there, it's broken back up. Fuller moving all types of which ways. Not sure which way he wants to go. Mike Kelly's there.
I say this with a smile on my face. This is where the crazies come. The guys who just are going to mat it and run as hard as they can from now to the finish.
They've been doing it.
Fuller, you see, yeah, but you're going to see EJ O'Rourke and all these guys that are known to super aggressive moves. It's game on time.
They've been doing this for 200 miles straight.
Fuller just shoved the 30 completely sideways. I have no idea how Mac. You don't push in the corner, but now you push in the corner. That's what I'm talking about.
You just
Mike Kelly to the bottom.
Don't push the pusher.
Yeah, it's time. This is where I'm
Are you
just gonna
saying there's a storm brewing?
Yeah. 3 cars wadded up over there in the grass, steaming hulks of former race cars. That's what we're, all it needs is a pinch of salt, and it's going to be there.
Well, one car boarded out. I think that was O'Rourke that said, yep, going to the back.
Yeah, there's pushing in the corners going on. There's all kinds of crazy.
And just like that, all of a sudden everybody's like, get to the top.
Yeah.
I think Jose Gonzalez blew up, by the way. I think that's why you see him coasting the pit road. And they're trying to follow me and play the Pied Piper with Matt. Well, look who's leading, of course. You can call him the Pied Piper if you want to. 3 straight years he's won the Daytona 500K, and now he leads at Talladega.
Looks like they had enough of Scott Stenzel. They jettisoned him out of that group.
All right, so the top line's, 15 strong now?
Commonly known as the Dale Earnhardt Jr. line. Now the question is, will the cars on the bottom be able to pull this through? If somebody pulls out a line up there, that breaks it up.
Yep.
So they're only as good as everybody staying committed to be nose to tail here.
This is where I said this lane is this is dangerous now, because with this car you can get up here and look at them. They're stretching out, and that inside line is falling apart. These guys are able to run wide open up here at the top.
And the guys on the back have to be really careful that they don't drop off so much that they lose the draft.
Now there's a term, and I forget what it's called, where they do the old side draft, pull down and make a pass and pull back up real quick. Kind of like Stenzel's about to do to Joey here.
Denny Hamlin-esque?
Yeah, I forget what there's a term for it. I cannot remember it. But the problem is for Stenzel, it didn't work. And backwards he goes.
You're 4 wide off of turn 4 back there with the 04, the 49, the 22. Mike Kelly. Mike got down underneath Doug Sigmund. Just about was get into the rear quarter panel and then eased out. Fortunately, let him have that position back. But I see Tommy Ryan in the mix there with the 8 on his back bumper. We've not talked about Tommy tonight, but he's another one. Both those Ryan guys, they know how to get it done.
Well, Jeff Ryan, unfortunately, is off, but Tommy Ryan was almost involved in that wreck earlier, and he had fallen off the draft, he and Randy. So now that caution helped them out, helped Mons out, who's right there. And then you got some others. Dory Woods is hanging back here now.
Well, what happened to Bob Gillenwater?
He's hanging back here, too.
Oh, he's back in 23rd.
He actually might be taking the advice from me I gave him last night, where I told him what I usually do. I mean, last night he was right there at the finish, almost won the thing.
Yeah, charged right through the middle. I thought he was going to shove his way in there. Had a great race last night.
Follow me. I'm the Pied Piper.
28 laps to go. There's a little time for this, but sooner or later, somebody wants to lead. They're going to jump out, and this is all going to go to bedlam.
Here's the thing. I'm looking. You know what? It's that fourth car. I'm like, who is it going to be? What I say the fourth car, but you know what? It's all team name guys, 1 through 4. I could see Calantoni being that guy. The 6th car in line.
Yeah, what do you do when you have the lower number car?
The what now?
The 43 car? Dirty Monkey team?
Well, I mean, for the 43, we all know the reason why Richard Petty always ran high in the corners.
Why?
Shortest distance to the wall.
Okay.
That was exactly that's a quote from Richard Petty.
Yeah.
You know, Kevin's laying off
Just
here a little bit.
He's by himself in a sea of team name, right? So he can't jump out of line. Because that's what they did to Stenzel earlier.
Well, here we go. Coleman jumps down. Mojica jumps down. They're like, all right, enough of this Denny Hamlin crap.
Yeah. Look at the 29. What a run he had. And they drive down to cover it, and just like that, we're too wide all the way through.
And
see, we wouldn't last too long. 27 to go. Somebody would get a pencil out and write it down.
Beasley leading that lap. And Beasley and his, I don't know what his fan club's called. It's called the Richard Beasley Fan Club, but we got to have a term for him, right? Like Beasley Nights or something? Oh, my gosh! The 42 Estenzo, I don't know if he was clear. Oh, now he gets shuffled.
Zoop.
Oh, that's O'Rourke, sorry.
Zoop, zoop.
If we had sound effects with every car.
That's what it looks like when they squirt out of the...
Hey, remember you asked where Bob Gillenwater is?
Yeah.
He was just in the back. He's now the 7th car in the outside lane.
Isn't that crazy? Just like that.
Just, you know.
The 2 and the 22 have been lockstep all night long. And they were out behind this pack with Doug Sigmund, and now they're on the charge down on the bottom line there.
I'm going to throw a challenge out right now to our viewers. Now, obviously I broadcast for 3 series. I won't mention names. I mentioned 3 series. Anybody right now want to challenge this series when it comes to the best super speedway racing there is in iRacing? The Coke series can't even do this.
Yeah. And just like that, they're all formed up on the top line again.
Helter Skelter. And now Beasley's got the train going. But this time, it's a lot more team name cars up there. Matter of fact, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All the way back to Roth. I think the Mafia needs to get together here. Don Corleone, make the call.
Now, we were talking about Roth being on his own in the 43 Richard Petty style car. He's got a Dirty Monkey Motorsports driver right behind him now with Anthony Calantoni. So teammates have found each other, and that gives Doug a little more tool to work with, so to speak, right? A little more something in the toolbox to twist the wrench to see if he can get the position there. When he's by himself, he just has to look out the back and say, please go with me. Now I'm pretty confident he has all the privilege in the world to think the 84 is going to stick with him.
Casey, that is a fair statement, Case. Casey did say the other 2 series, you can't really even touch each other with the bumpers. Oh, Joey almost got turned by Doy there, cut across his nose. I think Joey had to make that move right there, because if you look to the left, or whichever way that is, Fuller got loose, and Doy was almost on the apron making a move there. And there goes Wortman. But no, I was going to say, though, was Joey saw, I think, what is the team name guys on the bottom lane kind of almost trying to pull a flank on the rest of the field.
You'd go every once in a while and look at the stats, who's got top 10s, who's got top 5s, or whatever. But when it comes to this kind of race, it's almost irrelevant.
It don't matter.
It really is.
Think of all the drivers that got their one and only Cup win at Talladega or Daytona.
93 gets shoved completely sideways, slid down off the apron from the front bumper of Fuller, trying to push him through the corner.
Think somebody needs to remind Fuller that Kevin's the pusher. Sigmund's up against the wall. Going back to what I was saying, think about all the winners that have their one and only win at Talladega or Daytona. I mean, Ron Bouchard, Greg Sachs, two off the top of my head. Phil Parsons, Daytona-wise, Trevor Bayne, which you could put an asterisk there because it was tandem. I mentioned Greg Sachs. Who else is on that? Let's see, Bouchard, Phil Parsons. Oh gosh, who else got their only win there at Talladega? Bobby Hillin Jr.
Snickers number 8.
Yeah. I mean, there's a big list. Not John Wood, but John King at Daytona in the Truck Series.
Okay.
Exactly. Brandon Brown in the Xfinity Series.
The whole "let's go" thing that everybody...
I knew you were going there.
No, does that come from that?
Yes, that's where it started.
Is that right? I wondered if that was the origin of that. I always wondered.
Oh, here we go. No!
Yeah, this was inevitable. They caught that 3-car and it just did not line up right.
Boy, there's going to be some yelling. Caution's out.
That's weird because I thought he was down on the apron.
No, he was right on the inside lane there.
Well, he needs to be on a racetrack. How could he race otherwise?
I just pulled a DW on the field, by the way. I'm like, no! All right, let's see who all was involved in it. I know it all started about the 4th row. So we just spoke about this a little bit ago.
Fuller and Woods involved in that.
So again, now obviously we don't have the audio on. We assume that Jeff and them in the field. Excuse me, I say them guys. Jeff in the field had to be communicating. So Stenzel up front here goes to the middle. So he makes the move to go ahead and get around Jeff here, who's not at a fast pace right now. And then Fuller, I wonder if Justin maybe felt that he had to push the through. I mean, well, here's Justin to the bottom now. You see Doy kind of moves up. You see the 30s kind of moving up. I mean, you see O'Rourke back here with Kevin and Brown. They're moving up.
He must have felt like he was trapped down there. Couldn't move up. He saw the car to the outside. He got to the back bumper.
But then Doy kind of moves down, and that's where it jumbles up, because then Macklin has to make a move, turns up into Donnie Leah. And then Comstock, Doug Roth is going to get a piece of this. He should be okay, though. That car didn't look too... Joey Jatina bails. He's heading down here to the infield. That actually ends up only being about 5 cars.
Yeah, nobody took some...
Doy might have gotten the worst of this. Uh-oh. John Higman, T-Bone.
Come. Now, this isn't a hold to brake. He's still sliding.
Yeah, there's nothing he can do. Oh, he's going to get hit again.
Thunk.
Wow, he got missed. Nice miss by Simley.
It looked like a Haviland sign spinning at the gas station.
Okay. Add more life to your car. Take it to the star. All right, so here we go. Full speed now.
Yeah, strange that the 21 stayed down and didn't see him and tried to come up a little. He was definitely a disparity in speed when he got to him. And maybe if he checked up, everything would have been okay, but Unfortunately, the rest of the field followed him through.
Yeah.
Followed him to his own fate. You know how that goes when you follow somebody misses a corner and you drive it.
All right, so let's look real quickly here at the 3 of Jeff Ryan.
I wonder if you go inside the car, would it?
Well, what I want to do real quick is pop up the dashboard here. Oh, I can't when he's not live. Never mind. I was going to say, let's see how fast he was going. The only way I can do it is like this real quick. Pull up my UI. He is going 174 right now.
Yeah.
I'm reading some of the chat, actually. Anyway.
The field is coming off of turn 4, and there's probably a half dozen cars pit lane getting damage fixed. They're going to need to step out, but that is the one massive benefit of this 2.66 mile oval is that there is a massive amount of time for the team to bang the out and get things straightened out for you.
Yeah, see, Fuller, it's almost like, I don't know if he went to help Jeff or if he just was undecisive. But then if you watch Doy behind him, Doy almost puts himself in a bad spot too it was almost like he was committed to Fuller.
Yes, I think that's...
And then Macklin has to check up. Go ahead.
Fuller was following a car, and I think he went to make the move to go under the exit of the corner, and then realized the lane was blocked.
Right.
But knew the car was to his outside right, and had no choice but to check up. He had to suck it up, and unfortunately...
But you know what? And look right here, Jeff Ryan actually goes to the apron off the corner.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he was literally, I think you made the comment to this, was on the track, but I mean, let's face it, right here, he's kind of in no man's land because you cannot just turn left and go to the apron.
But go to the Fuller car here as he was going through the center of the corner.
Okay.
He's following, who was it, Stenzel?
Yeah, let me get to his car here real quick. 21. Yeah, he was following Stenzel. You're right.
Okay, so he's following Stenzel. Stenzel drifts up, seeing the 3 car, and he stays down. And then he realizes, I'm going too fast. Checks up, and unfortunately, Doy followed him down because I think he was going to help him with the pass, and didn't realize that everything was going to get bottled up. Hard on the brakes, and then melee ensued. That'll be one that'll be talked out for quite a bit of time. As the 13 of Comstock says, something like he ran flat into a lap car.
Pretty much. As we get ready to come to green. You got Beasley.
Some debate about whether a car that is that many laps should be out there, but I watched the 14 today. He looked like an ARCA car racing in a cup race.
You'll get some of those.
So far off the pace.
As we come back to the green flag here, 16 laps to go. Richard Beasley, Chad Coleman, Mojica, Stenzel, and Fuller. And I believe this is Talladega County. This is the county that this track is in. I think it's under a tornado warning. Not in real life. But you get where I'm going.
The vortex theory?
No. Maybe the inversion of it as green comes back out.
More like meat grinder. All right, let's see. A lot of these guys went and got their damage fixed, so...
no!
Here we go.
Coleman goes around with the 21 contact. This is going to be... This is big.
Wow.
Bump draft gone bad. Macklin's in it.
I don't think a lot of people were anticipating that.
Well, everybody went to one groove. And it literally, I think, checked everyone up.
Who is it? O'Rourke got squirted out there, didn't it? Jay? No.
Let's see. So basically, you see Beasley goes to the top. Coleman's up there.
Oh, yeah, okay. It's Coleman and Beasley got together, the 42 evasive action. And then I think he tried to get back in line. No, he just didn't have control of the car.
Jatina Sigmund get a piece of it. Charles Woods. The 12 of Simley gets turned.
Parker sideways over on the apron.
Yikes.
So this is an interesting thing. The 38 got turned, did a 360, grabbed the gear, drove down to the inside fence and drove right through it. Amazing job by Chad Coleman to not get clobbered and killed.
Oh, Calantoni got a big piece of it. So did Kevin Stone, Josh Parker. Mons, you mentioned getting involved. Ron Holyfield's off the track, it looks like, after contact.
Yeah, Ron took a pretty big shot.
Yikes.
You have to ride with Chad Coleman on that.
Let's take a ride with Coleman here. As he does a dipsy-do spinneroo. Coleman. I can't find him. There he is.
About half the field has to go in and get service at the time, really?
Right.
He gets nicked.
Oh, so, okay. So, yep. So they catch Beasley and had the momentum, and everybody just checked up.
Everybody's crashing. Where do you go? Cole, I believe you can do it. Cole through the bottom. He could not see anything. He just drove for where.
Pretty much. Wow.
Somehow. That was astonishing.
That was pretty incredible. All right, let's step away for a quick second and hear from our friends at 811 as you're watching the Captain Esports Network.
If recent storms have caused damage to your property, contact 811 before you begin your cleanup. Buried utilities around uprooted trees can make a bad situation worse if those lines are not located before digging. Electric, natural gas, and internet lines are everywhere, and knowing where they are is the safest way to start any digging project. Call North Carolina 811 by dialing 811 or by using single address ticket on NC811.org or the NC811 app.
All right, back we are here at Talladega. 14 laps to go. Fourth caution out. And as I mentioned, it's really been picking up here with the racing and stuff. A little bit of a checkup up there with the leaders, and unfortunately some bumping gone bad, and carnage has ensued here the last couple of minutes. But needless to say, the racing out here in this Sim500 NC811.org Cup Series has been phenomenal, to say the least. I want to say we're gotta be approaching 40 lead changes with ease. Oh, hey, let me turn your mic on here. Sorry, it just looked over. Hey, go ahead.
I want to clean something up. I wasn't talking about Joey Jatina 14. I was talking about Chase Briscoe 14 today at Dover. But there was a comment about the 3-car who was involved in that incident being multiple laps down. They're racing for points, and every position counts. So from that perspective, I don't blame him for being out there and just do what he can. Today, Chase Briscoe was a roadblock, just totally in the way. But real life is an example of how this. You got to stay out there and you got to earn every position. If somebody crashes out, make a position, that's points.
Let's go back to this, okay? Let's. Hang on.
They race the whole season. Every position matters.
Oh, so that's the last caution. Hang on. Let me back up. I want to go back to that caution real quickly as you said that. Because I know we're getting ready to go back to green, so let me really quickly hurry up and do this. Gonna be a minute.
They brought us some chocolate during the break, so
yes,
just a piece of chocolate. Go ahead.
Hershey's, I guess, or something. I don't know. So we're at lap 95. Here's the unfortunate part about me scrolling back in my history. I want to go back to that record because the reason why I want to show you is I want to go back and look and see where. Okay, so here we go. Let's back up here. I know we're about to go green, so I'm trying to hurry here. All right, so we're a half a lap back from when the wreck happens. Jeff Ryan, let's watch him here. He goes to the top and then he goes to the bottom here because he knows the pack's coming. They're in turn 3 and 4 right now. Look where he sits, on the bottom lane. So, obviously, right here, the pack should know he's going to be on the bottom. They should be communicating with each other. Hey, slow car bottom, slow car bottom. I mean, in fairness to Jeff here, they had a whole entire straightaway.
Yeah, no doubt.
To know that he's there. It's not like he's going bobbing and weaving up and down the track here.
And a message just came across. That one was on me. Sorry, fellas. Justin.
Oh,
radio.
There you go. As we go back green, Beasley and the pack getting back together again. I just wanted to show that real quickly to prove my point of when you're a lap car like that, it doesn't matter how many laps down you are, just be predictable. And that's Jeff did. That's exactly what Jeff did.
If Chad Coleman wins this race,
Danny Sullivan?
Yes. Right?
That's 85.
He's probably 8th. He's got a car.
I mean, Victory Lane might smell like you know what because he's Code Brown, but ooh, Rivera got shuffled up top there.
Yes.
Oh
yeah.
boy, here they move around 3, 4 wide. And Macklin's still up there somehow. Fuller's still up in here somehow. You can beat the living snot out of this car and you're okay.
Josh Barker's coming back through. All those Chargers that we talk about.
And look at this on the bottom. O'Rourke pushing Bentley Glazier. Tandem. And remember, there's money on the line. Oh, by the way, top driver finishes in the Dash for Cash will win $25, I believe. As O'Rourke goes up to kind of block the top, but it gets more of a push from Beasley and gets shoved out to the lead as Gillenwater and Glazier get shuffled by, guess who? The Iron Man.
Man, I'm telling you. Incredible.
Ooh,
every one of these cars in the top group.
How is O'Rourke not getting turned?
Has taken a massive hit, and yet these cars it's like Energizer, you keep on ticking.
No, I mean, literally, it looks like Beasley's like swiping across his bumper.
Good show right now for Casey Duncan running up there.
Drop down, elevator move.
What a drive down the banking. That car just hammered down across that lane.
Problem is, it's just them two down there now. Up now 3. And topside, here comes Kevin. There's a block. Well, you got to be careful with them blocks.
The thing that would make me nervous is all the pushing here in the corners. And then that little wiggle you get up off the corner, you see almost everybody sideways hammered down. Nobody lifting at this juncture. 9 to go. And everybody knows money's on the line right here. No one quarter.
Hey, no sleeping on the guys on the bottom. Here come your personal comfort tandem.
EJ, what a pusher.
He's getting up there with Kevin with the push. And now he tries to make a move on his teammate.
Macklin.
Oh, it's Macklin.
Yeah.
Oh, that just caused... I don't know if that... I don't know if I agree with that move. Oh, whoa. We tried to wreck there. Fuller had Brown all types of sideways.
I just don't know how Gunn to Brown is in this. Yep, they're together.
Up. Casey Duncan's backwards. Caution's out.
That's a slide off of turn 2. Eventually, it was going to get Casey Duncan.
Whew.
Slapped the wall on the outside.
It's a daggum sim. And I'm nervous over here.
I don't think Casey had a choice. The 30 got sideways in front of him, went up against the wall, and Casey had to move down and gap. Made a Toyota sandwich there.
Oh, yeah, that's never good.
So Casey's the third car on the outside, right?
Right. Yep.
And the second car gets sideways through the middle of the corner on the outside. That would be the 30th Macklin. Goes up, out to the outside wall after getting wonky. Right here. He's in the wall. The 71 has to shoot the gap. And here comes the 28 into the space. Really looked like 71 turned down in.
Jatina gets a slight piece on the right side. He might have a little damage to work with there.
Pardon me, coming through.
Yeah, pretty much.
His car yawed out there, but he collected it. And if you're Casey right now, you're going, man, I gotta go to the back and do it all over again.
I think you could win from anywhere right now. Honestly.
It does feel like the runs that these cars are getting compared to last night's Xfinity race are astonishing. We ran this, of course, we're a week behind the schedule. Next week we run Dover.
Right.
For our series, but we ran this last week in NIS, and I think I told you I came from 23rd to 3rd in the final stint.
Wow.
Just by carving, slicing back and forth. So, yeah, Casey Duncan, 4 tires in fuel, he's going to come back out somewhere in the deep 20s, but you can't count him out. He could potentially come through and get it. Love his pit sign. That's really kind of cool. The work that these drivers do to put together the entire package for their setups, the pit signs, the paint schemes that they, for the helmets and their own helmets and
right.
the pit crew and stuff, it's underestimated. But when you drive down pit road, check out what.
And how much work it is. I mean, there's so many great painters out there from... I mean, I won't mention names just for sponsor or for reasons or whatever, but how about that? I'll keep it to people in here. Like, I know Tyler Dalton paints. I know, oh gosh, what's the gentleman that does a lot of the
15 on the uniforms?
What was that? I lost you there for a second. Sorry. Your mic
Tyler
is cutting in and out.
Crew has zone 15 on the uniforms. Yeah. And a really nice pit sign that matches the car. I mean, the artwork and livery for these guys are second to none.
You got, Tyler does some paints. I'm trying to remember the gentleman who Pedro said back in a couple paints he's done. He runs in this league. I can't remember his name though.
There was a message this week from a painter who does a couple of the cars that painted real life cars that are going out in the next couple of weeks or so, from what I recall.
Well, the painter who puts together the paints for Trackhouse is actually a former iRacing painter. He was hired on by Trackhouse, and the schemes you see out there on the track today are from a guy that was literally hired from Trading Paints. So, if you ever wonder if iRacing can get you somewhere, ask drivers like William Byron, Ty Majeski, Raja Karuth. Ask, there's broadcasters out there. I'll mention Blake McCandless, who's doing the Cars Tour on Flow. He's from iRacing. You got Trading Paints. You got painters now, that are doing stuff for teams now in NASCAR. So the sky's the limit. What people can do from this sim. I mean, literally, I'm waiting for the day one person calls me from one of those channels and says, dude, I heard your voice on Monday night covering Sim500, and I wanted to see you do a tryout for da-da-da-da-da.
Well, not to mention a lot of these guys work in the industry.
Yeah.
They're fabricators, they're tire guys, they're parts people, and other roles.
I mean,
we used to have, back in the day, Jackman Hal Beardsworth. Jack a couple of the cars race with us. So the NASCAR community and the sim racing community are
hand in
really
hand. Yeah. I mean, E.J. O'Rourke helps out with the I can't remember, Timmy Hill team, truck team.
Yeah.
See who else out here. Chad Coleman, I know he did some stuff with the local short track and dirt track in Georgia here.
Yeah, Doug Sigmund works with the team that runs Hickory.
Yeah. So
in the lanes. Brakes, I think he's a brake specialist if I remember right.
And then Brian Wortman did stuff for TriStar back in the day. Actually crew chiefed a couple of races for Jeff Green.
Morgan Shepherd.
Yeah, Morgan Shepherd. I mean, so the sky's the limit here with what people can do. So,
well, we've got 5 to go here. When you get digits, it's just keep it planted, find the hole, get that.
Your brake pedal does not work anymore.
No. You run the rear view mirror as much. Just hope you can bring it back.
All right, so Beasley, Mojica, Glazier, Coleman, O'Rourke, your top 5. Is it every man for themselves, or are we still working as a team here? We're about to see. I think the old cooperation word's about to come out to play here as we go green. Beasley gets a start. Let's see if he moves to the bottom here. He gets too good of a start. Inside lane looks pretty good with those 3. He needs to get to the bottom here. It's going to check them up, though. Here comes that top group. He's going to have a big run here.
Yeah, we'll see who has some momentum coming down into the super stretch.
Now, you saw the difference there. Oh, Beasley goes, oh,
wow.
That checked him up big time.
Can't go below the yellow line here.
3-4 wide.
Gillenwater's in familiar territory right there.
Now they're leaning on each other there.
How did he save it?
Contact is Fuller goes to the bottom, Ron Bouchard style, and 5 wide. And now Contact and Tommy Ryan goes flying into the wall. And now they're wrecking Beasley, Gillenwater.
Oh.
Oh, Tony clips him. I mean, Tommy Ryan just catapulted into the inside wall.
Beasley started on the pole here for this restart, or started on point for the restart, and now he's in a heap over there in the grass.
I mean, they were 5 wide in the tri-oval. Sim500 overtime, getting act. Remember I said last night, or said tonight, it was like that first, if the first race is calm, what do you think this is going to be? All right, so look right where Wesley Donaldson, at black 91 car, right in front of Joey. And we're going to count them out here once it gets to it. Because you're going to see one car scraping the outside wall up here. It's Glazier. So right there. 1, Mons. 2, Gillenwater. 3, Josh Parker. 4, O'Rourke. 5, Glazier. You can almost count 6 with the 91 car. Going into the tri-oval here. And there's Contact, and watch Tommy here. Zing!
Did a Dukes of Hazzard wheelie there. Watch this, Bo.
Oh. Looks like 4 or 5 cars and another mini one.
That was cool, Luke.
We're gonna I don't know about that. Let's go out more with Tommy here. Watch this.
I think you killed the general, Bo.
Dang it, Bo. Now, the car I feel worse about here, I got to see who that car is right up there. I want to say that's Gerald Livingston. Gerald Livingston was driving a car that I think you could almost argue wanted to be in this wreck. Not that Gerald wanted to be in this wreck, because nobody wants to wreck. But I think his car wanted to be in this wreck. And I will let the video explain. That awkward moment. When you're going to miss a wreck and your car just starts chasing the other car.
Yeah.
Wreck.
I feel the moment for Tommy. He was going through and hit that, whatever it was down there.
Catapult.
And as he was in the air, all he could find, that's never going to work. He had full windshield full of Sunoco sign from the infield.
Now, for those wondering, there actually is a quote-unquote catapult at Talladega in iRacing. And for those who don't know, if you go down to, there's a gap over in the inside wall off pit road. If you straddle it the right way, it will shoot your car all of like 200 feet in the air. Where you land is a whole nother story.
Beasley's car is just absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, Jatina's on pit road. Mike Kelly's on pit road. Beasley, Scott Simley.
Donnie Leah.
Well, Leah's been kind of hanging there.
Yeah, he's just hanging out after trash early.
As right now, Pedro Mojica is in line for $25.
Joey's car doesn't look too bad.
Now, Joey just got some contact, I think, to the right front. If I remember correctly. And here's Brian Wortman, still hanging in there. He's gonna try to pull a James Busher on the field.
He's on the lead lap after all that.
Uh-oh. Susan Sigmund has woken up and asking her partner, Doug, what in the world are you doing in 20th?
So now, as you roll around here under caution, Greenway checker number 1 of 2, you think to yourself, it's been a long race.
Mm-hmm.
I think I can win. I'm still rolling. I'm somewhere here in the top 10. If this person goes high and that opens low gap, I'm going to go get a win. They still think, no matter where they are, they can win.
Now, we got one lap to go before we go green. We really haven't actually talked to anybody tonight. And I think it's because the racing's so good, we honestly haven't thought about it. I haven't. I've just been so focused on the race and what's been happening. So, like, I was going to pull a driver up, but, well, we're about to go green.
I just see Brian Wortman just dropped in, pop off.
I think he's more just trying to make sure he's at the back of the pack. So this is one of those relative questions as we come to the green where you ask, where do you want to be on this restart? And I think the answer is yes.
Yes, yeah. I actually want the high line. I don't know.
Okay.
Some think there's a mojo on the high line.
I think I like what you're saying there. I think where Justin Mons is right now, I think where Mojica is, I think they're in the prime spot here. Because they're pushing, and then eventually you're going to have to see Fuller or Kevin DeBrown, who's on the inside lane, are going to have to work the lines. And it's going to give these cars super runs. I mean, again, this is the type of a finish right here we're about to see where a Wesley Donaldson, a Joe Hudson, I'm looking back here at 12th, Jimmy Coleman, Somebody like that wins this race because things happen. So sit back and let's get ready to enjoy the 2 laps of Talladega.
I just can't grasp the number of hits we've seen some of these cars take. The 93s right there in front row, contesting for the win here, and you have to wonder if damaged and going to cause problems for the cars behind him.
Fuller, too good of a restart, I think, here. He's not the... As I watch Parker jump up to the top groove here.
But Pedro doesn't have a pusher. Now
The problem is now it's going to check everybody up. O'Rourke's going to get the run on the top side. Here they go 4 wide and trying to wreck again. Hudson gets into the 49, and there they go.
Yeah. Yeah, that was almost inevitable.
And that's all from the checkups. What's going on is the leader is going. And it checks everybody up. Like right there. Everybody's checking up from catching the leader. And Hudson goes to make a move to go 4 wide. And it just doesn't work. Josh Parker.
Trying to go for the gap.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. He's trying to go.
It's New York subway system. Mind the gap.
Here's
right.
It's a tough spot because, like right here, Fuller's too far out there. Mojica's got a super run, and he chooses to stay behind Fuller. So from there, it's like, okay, what does Mons decide? Because now Mojica checks up. Well, Mons is getting pushed by Hudson as he checks up. So now Hudson's got to figure something out. O'Rourke pops out of line to try to prevent running over Hudson, but also to make his own groove. So now there's the checkup with Mons. And now Hudson checks up, but inside he's like, well, you know what? I've got to run here. There's a lane. Let me go for it. Problem is, here comes the 60 up the track, and then, well, things come together.
I think we underestimate the fact that these cars are loose coming up out of the corner.
That's a factor, yeah.
They're tapped, right?
Yeah.
I think that was just tap, tap, tap. Boom, boom, boom.
I understand where Fuller and them are doing. They're trying to get a good restart, so if they do wreck, they're the leaders. But I almost think for them to have the best restart here, they almost need to lay back the proper way, not like actually checking up the field. But to when the green flag comes out, they're getting pushed by their other guy instead of getting out there to a big start. Because what's not to say that Mojica doesn't jump to the outside with a run on Fuller to take the lead? Because especially now, this is the last restart we're about to have.
Yeah.
So now there's no... I don't know if there's going to be any pushing here. I think it's... Well, they'll be pushing, but I think when it comes to the leaders, I think it's going to be Fuller and DeBrown versus the field behind them, because they're going to get runs and go. So I think if you're Fuller here, you almost have to not check the field up, but you have to get a start to where you're close to the field and not far out.
I think it's pretty simple. Get to the front as fast as you can and stay there. Right? At this point, because the caution could come out and end everything, you're just going to do whatever you can to get as far forward fast as you can and try and be in the...
The only thing I feel bad about now, because, yeah, there's the 7 cautions now, and let's face it, 6 of them came in probably the last 30 laps. These guys are going to get down on themselves. I can tell you, especially after last night's race. And I don't know if they really should, because it's the product that they have on the track. And yeah, could some of this stuff been avoided? Absolutely. But they're all racing for the win.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll get one to go this time. Let's I don't know who to pull up here. You know what? Let's pull up the guy from last night. That won. I have a feeling I might regret this move, but we're gonna do it. Kevin, you got a copy, bud?
Oh no! Why are you talking to me? Why must you do this to me?
We're trying to figure out somebody to talk to. We haven't talked to anybody all night, So
Oh no.
the wildness of this race, I mean, obviously, is there any kind of a clue of what's about to happen?
Uh, Honestly, no. I have a sneaky suspicion that's gonna end in a caution, but I, I don't know.
So you sound like us. Good, good. So talk about the racing out there, because obviously you were involved in a little wreck earlier, but I mean the moves out there, the runs that everyone's getting has been just wild.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. I mean, it's more crazier than last night. I honestly thought this would be a little bit more tamer, but good lord, I mean the runs are insane, and it's just the high lane is so dominant. I think that's where you're gonna want to be here at the end.
Are you going to push the pace car?
Possibly if you don't get out the way.
I was going to say, because it's the only thing in front of you to push. But in all seriousness, man, you're doing a good job. I know you got a little bit of a crease in that left front, which surprisingly is not affecting your car too much. But hey, well, let's see what happens. May the force be with you.
Right, I think you just jinxed me. So if I wreck, I'm sending the bill to you.
All right, well, you won last night. There's your bill. Anyways, and Kev didn't talk to you, by the way, so you're good.
That's not on me.
Oh, peace smoke. Watch Kev win this race. Now, Casey Carrington, who's watching in chat, I've talked to him before, and he's won a race. What was it, a couple weeks ago at Bristol? Did we not talk to Fuller, and he worked his way up to third, I think? So, I mean, it's all in what you believe. If you feel I'm bad juju, I'm going to be bad juju.
Okay, well, now what? Now what?
I honestly don't have an answer. I don't. I just hope the viewers enjoyed the show. I hope that you've hit subscribe. And thank you, Sim500 and 811, for allowing us to be a part of this race. But just like the other viewers watching this, you got two fans sitting here calling the race of what we're about to watch here to the finish. Let's see. There's 29 cars on the lead lap. 29 cars could win this race. The question is, can they make it 2.66 miles to the white flag? Because basically right now the level's at 8. The white flag puts it at 10 when it comes to aggression.
Last time on pit road. See that again?
All right, see Fuller's laying. This is what Fuller should have done the first time. Here we go. He's going to get the push. Now he launches. Still maybe too good of a start. He's going to check Doy up. EJ jumps up top right away. All right, this is going to check the top side up. There goes Doy to the middle.
They're all going to follow him down through the middle because there's a hole there.
But O'Rourke picked him up. The momentum's there now. Now you got, oh my gosh. Well, it's last night all over again.
Yeah, 3 wide all the way through.
O'Rourke pushing Fuller, yes. And then you got the Brown being pushed by Mojica on the bottom. Coleman's trying to push Doy in the middle. As my screen's black out for a split second. That's the wrong time to do that. Oh, and O'Rourke gets a run on Fuller. Top side, here comes the bottom.
The middle line seems to have stalled.
Oh, white flag, here we go.
They're going to make a new middle line.
Oh, and there goes Fuller into the wall. 4 wide, and oh boy, junkyard.
And now in the back. That's it. They piled about 15 cars back there.
We'll come back and show that in a second. We're still running here. Kevin throws a block on Mojica. Here comes Comstock to the block. Throws a block on him.
Stock hit Kevin from the back, pushed him forward.
Up top, O'Rourke getting pushed by Casey Duncan.
Long way back to the start-finish line here.
Oh, the race just started.
Third 4.
Comstock waiting to make the move here. He is pushing Kevin. Is he going to make the move? There he goes, top side. Turned it. Oh! Comstock got him.
Comstock got him to the outside. What a move.
No way.
Turned him sideways and wow.
Holy cow.
I just am studying how it's that last little left slide that allowed Comstock to just eke his way around and get that win. What an incredible win. I thought for sure he was toast. And Wesley Donaldson snuck in there for third and almost both of them. They were.
The top three separated by 7/100ths of a second.
It was pandemonium over there in turns 1 and 2. Half the field got wiped out. And some of those guys that we were looking back there in the deep 20s came back through for a top 10 here at the end.
All right, we get to go see that again.
So we've been talking about all these top runs for Comstock, right? Just last week we were having that conversation. How about that?
I thought he waited too long to make the move.
I figured when he pulled out and got alongside of him, he stalled him, but he just nicked him enough to Rubbin's racing. Perfect execution. Didn't wreck them. They both slid across the line, but incredible.
Whew. All right. Let's go to the finish first. Let me here a minute.
Wow. Yeah, the two of them broke out, and I thought for sure as they were stretched that everybody would collect them. But for whatever reason, it just the I don't know if they just got perfect tandem or what, but nobody else came close to tracking them down. I think there was a move by Chad Coleman away from E.J. O'Rourke on the outside lane coming down the backstretch that stalled it. And you see the distance of how far back they are. It's right here where the car turns back left. That made the difference. The 38 got pushed away and it almost slingshotted him around the outside.
All right, I'm going to jump up and I'm actually going to pull my UI up here because I'm going to break this down by literally by the sometimes you just got to do this way. I'm going to change the camera here in a second. So I can find the best camera for this view. Oh, there we go.
That's it.
There's your separation right there.
Yeah, certainly no doubt that Comstock won it, but it was that close.
He won by a Monster Energy can. 16-ouncer.
Man.
That's close.
What a finish. Talk about call before you dig, man. He knew what was behind. He just drove around him to the win.
That was, yeah. Let's go back to the wreck now that preceded this. Just going to get to where it says white flag on my screen here. I'm catching my breath over here.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out where that somewhere with Fuller and Stenzel, it looks like something happened is what I remember.
Right there. Stenzel got in the back of Fuller.
But Fuller looked like he tried to get up in line yeah, that's what it was. Fuller tried to get back in line, and there just wasn't enough space for him to squeeze in there.
All right, let's get you a better view of this.
Then he caught up the 18. He caught up the 84, got a piece of it. Poor Doug Sigmund got wrapped up in that.
Doy Woods, Charles Woods.
Higman.
Sigmund. Tommy Ryan goes driving through it. Roth. Holyfield. Mons. There goes Wortman.
Where did Ryan finish?
Where did Tommy Ryan? 14th? All right, let's go on board with Tommy for this one. Tommy's back here hanging.
$18th for
No
Wortman.
check. It finally checks.
Okay. Let's see. Where do I go?
Tony's still spinning.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I keep my foot in it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
Wow. That's a wow. You could see the wind from there.
Pretty much.
How he drove through it.
All right. Well, it's
That's pretty crazy.
that was a wild finish. Comstock wins it by, like I said, a Monster Energy can pretty much. When it's over with. So we'll let the field roll across the top of your screen there. Let's talk to some drivers, and we'll talk to third place, Wesley Donaldson in the 91 car, who finishes third by not much. As Westman, great run. And what was a wild race. I honestly don't know what questions to ask right now. Just from the racing we had out there, but your perspective of the race tonight.
It was kind of wild and all over the place. I spent plenty of time wrecked, plenty of time on pit road repairing my damage, and then ended up front. So I don't even know how to describe it.
I'm glad I'm not the only one here. Well, obviously, yeah, that wreck you got involved in, but let's talk about the last lap there. Put yourself back where you were and what you saw.
Yeah, so I was restarting ninth there, and I knew I was a little bit down on power just from getting damage repaired, but I was pretty good as long as I was sucked up kind of behind someone. So I didn't really want to kind of go to the top. I felt like it'd be just a little bit too risky. It was going to be so dicey up there. I'm like, I'm just going to plan it to the bottom, and hopefully it just follows through. And sure enough, it just kept going. The seas kept parting, and before you know it, we're coming off of 4, and there's only 3 of us left. And I'm like, man, I'm just glad to be finishing one of these because I have a tendency to not do that. So, right. Yeah. But yeah, I couldn't be happier with how it ended up.
Well, you did a fantastic job, and I know it was not the win you want, but you're getting closer and closer to getting that win in that 91 car, and I know the momentum's there, and send some shout-outs to whoever you like to, bud.
Yeah, just want to say thanks to Sim500, thanks to 811 for sponsoring us, thanks to you guys for putting on this show every week. Shout out to my Instagram page, WBD Diecast, where I do custom diecast, and thanks to my spotter, Jason Casper, who kept me calm during that whole thing.
We should have had him in Discord. I would have pulled him up because I was looking for somebody to talk to that I couldn't jinx, but you know what? In the end, jinx didn't work, didn't go bad, so we're good. So nice job, Wes.
Thank you.
You too. Wesley Donaldson finishing in the 3rd position, and I mean, he finished the race. And he finished exactly in the spot where I talked to him at. So it's not a jinx in this situation as far as I'm concerned. Kevin?
No. Yeah,
so
Kevin?
Oh, you got me? Hello?
So close.
So close.
Yeah.
So close.
You know, you came off that final tri-oval. You could see the checkered flag. You probably thought you had it. Did you feel him come up to your right-hand side?
Well, I was telling David down there, looking back at the replay, I didn't realize we were so far out. And I saw I had a little gap from David from when he pushed me out just a bit, so I thought I had it. And looking at the replay, I don't really know why we touched. I don't know if it was net code or like side draft or what, because I'm looking at like my wheel inputs, and it's like I'm still turning left. Because I wanted to be as close to the yellow line as possible, so just in case he was to get the run, we'd be able to edge him out. But either way, I mean, second works.
Yeah, sideways across the line, losing by a gauche. I guess that's okay. Good night's work. You got 1 win on the season, 2nd place of the season, and you know, in all, to come out of this after an eventful night, it was eventful for you, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it sure was. Especially at the beginning, when me and Chad decided to drop back, and Chad dropped back a lot more than we expected, and we got lost in that pack, and then I think I got into Wesley when the caution came out, which I'm surprised didn't destroy the car. But I mean, all in all, you know, we worked our way back up, and everybody at Team Name worked together pretty well, and it was a fun race.
Yeah, I don't really have that much to add to it other than a spectacular finish and place. I know you would have liked to have one more, but at this point, when you come off of turn 4 with the lead, go through the tri-oval and you're staring at the starter with the checkered flag and you're that close, I don't think you could ask for much more. I don't believe there's anything else you could have done. It was fate that got you tonight.
Yeah, it's even better that one of the teammates won. I love it for David. I think this is David's first one of the season. I can't remember. Yeah, I mean, good day. That's all.
Yeah, so the floor is yours, Kevin. Anybody you want to say? Didn't get jinxed, so.
Yeah, of course. Hopefully this string together a couple good runs coming up, because so far the season's not been the greatest. But I'd like to thank Chris Caboose, Paint the Paint Scheme, Race of Pride coming on this season, future seasons. You guys put on the show. I cannot wait to go watch this fun race. Yeah. NC811 for sponsoring the series and doing everything they do. We very much appreciate it. And the admins and Sim500.
Yeah, it looks like Kevin every lap is out of control sometimes. Does it feel that way in the car?
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially when everybody has their runs like crazy. I cannot wait to go watch this race, honestly.
Yeah, it looked like we were skittish like little schoolgirls, both Chris and I tonight. Calling, oh my God. So you'll see. Well, thanks for stopping. Congratulations on the second place. That close. We'll wish we were in a better position next time. But top 3, I think coming out of Talladega, it's a good night.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, guys.
There you go. Kevin DeBrown, he finished his second. Chris is caught up with our winner, Comstock.
Yeah, I am all types of sticky with Monster Energy all over me now. Thanks to David Comstock, who decided to pour it over my head. Thank you. Appreciate that. But I'm just kidding. He really didn't, because we're in rooms, for heaven's sakes. David, wild race, man. You were like 21st on the last lap. No, again, you were like 5th coming across the line. They wreck, and it's just you and Kevin. And talk us through that last lap.
Yeah, I mean, I think what set me up was the first green white checkered, when I thought the top side was where I wanted to be on that last restart, but the previous restart I got good fortune of being on the top, and they wrecked down low, and I cleared it, which put me in a good position. And I was wanting to be on the outside for the restart, but bottom worked out pretty decent. And white flag lap there, they all, everybody starts fanning out, trying to get in position to take control of the lead and run it to the end. And I went to jump to the outside, and then the outside they started stalling and side drafting, and then I juked back low and went lined up with Kevin, and I look at my mirror and I just see them side drafting in my mirror, and it's just him, myself, and Wesley. So we just lined up and pulled away, and I knew my only shot was just push the heck out of Kevin to try to just separate us, and then slingshot at the end. And I thought I messed it up when we were coming into the trial. I gave him like too good of a shot, and it pushed him far out, and I got out of the bubble where you can stay pretty close up to the rear bumper, and because I was at a bit of an aero deficit from being involved in one of the wrecks earlier or midway through, and I just decided, if I'm gonna try to even have a shot, I'm gonna pull out a line and maybe hopefully like break that air push, roll back to me, and I just pack enough air onto his right rear spoiler, and it luckily worked. And didn't mean to get him sideways across to the line, but I think that was what helped slow him down just enough to where I can just eke him out at the line.
It definitely worked out for you, man. And I don't even know what to say. Your perspective of the race, because there were moves everywhere. I mean, it was like every time Kevin and I turned to somebody was dropping to the bottom from the top lane and back to the top, and it was just wild out there. Was it as wild as it looked outside the car?
Yeah, there was definitely times when the ante picked up and everything, and the aggression level spiked pretty severely, where the right rear on these cars is such an exploitive area in the draft where you can really just stall a guy out super easy. So you don't want to give up your right rear, and so that's where for a little bit we were all running the top, and you had to really get like a giant run and build it and drop way low away from that outer lane just so you don't get any side draft, because you can get it even from like 10-15 feet away from that upper lane. So we were able to do it one time where we made a pass down low. But yeah, whenever we started getting like 3 wide and 4 wide, and of course, you get to the end, everyone's just going for it at the end. So you're not lifting as much, and if you're pushing much harder than you were towards the first part of the race. So I was in a position where I kept seeing all this aggression happen, and I'm like, I really don't have any help, or I don't have the car really to do anything. I might just stick it out and wait for the wreck, and it just kept happening. And then just kept working my way up through the pack, through all the restarts, where I got a good position at the end. But yeah, definitely these cars move around a lot. You get on the right rear and it pulls the guy on your left up the track into you. So you have to compensate and be ready for that, because unless the guy is on it and is able to steer, because you're pretty much forklifting him, they're driving the rear up the track with you. Unless he's on it and pulling the car down to keep the car from driving up the track, it's definitely a handful.
Well, great job tonight, man. Congratulations. Welcome back to Victory Lane for the first time this season as we continue our streak. I believe it's now, 6 races in a row with a different winner. So it's been a definitely wide version, or a wide amount of winners throughout the season. But you definitely got this one. You entered the race 49 points back, and it updates. You are now 39 back. So you've actually gained 10 points on the battle there to try to get the top spot as we head to the playoffs here, and still got plenty of races before that, but that's some momentum there for you, and a chance to send some shout outs whoever you like to.
Yeah, thank you. And also $25 heavier in my wallet along with that.
You did win the Dash for Cash.
Win, so,
yes, good call.
So appreciate Sim500 and all the admins for putting on our leagues, and all these little cool Dash for Cash and prize winning pools through the year, keep everything exciting and keep everybody interested and involved. Thanks to NC811.org for sponsoring our series. Appreciate you guys for broadcasting. Thanks to all the teammates at Team Name. Just teamwork. That's definitely a huge part of our success week in and week out. And this race especially, we worked really well together when we had the opportunities to line up. And so can't thank my teammates enough for all the work we put in, and all the great runs that we continue to put in together. So good job to everybody at Team Name, and thanks to Monster Energy.
Well, great job on your part. And just a side question real quick, to beat out Pedro for the money and him finish 4th, it's got to be a little cool.
Anytime you can beat out Pedro, it's pretty cool. Yeah. the way he runs, man, he's so quick. Yeah, no, I mean, heck, to win $25, I didn't care. I mean, of course I wanted to win, but I was just like, man, if I can just finish ahead of any of these guys, I'm like, I'll be happy with the $25. But have a shot to win there, I did not see that at all. I was like going to the back, and I was like looking around, I'm like, holy crap, I got a shot at this thing. And I'm like, oh, wait, I got to focus on pushing on this guy and try to see if I can make this happen off of turn 4. Right, focus. And so, yeah, no, just very, very fortunate situation there at the end, and I'm glad we were able to pull it off.
Well, it looks like now you're in the running to get some money come May 22nd in the Bryce Whitson Never Quit 240 at Charlotte. That gets $50 to the winner. So best of luck there.
Let's go get it.
There you go. Nice job, man.
Thanks.
All right, David Comstock, the winner tonight here at Talladega Superspeedway, as the party's already started down in chat. I can see looking down there, so I know he will get him down there to it right now, as they got a lot to talk about down in that room. But Kevin, as we wrap up 2 wild days here at Talladega, I think the racing tonight was just phenomenal. Last night and tonight, phenomenal. We had wrecks at the end, but you know what? It's a product of this racing.
Yeah, I agree. I what can you say? It's unpredictable from the beginning to the end, and just kudos to Comstock. What a move he pulled at the end to win that. It almost sounded like he was apologetic for turning him sideways. I have to think that was the race-winning move, so he should patent that or something. I don't know. Definitely hit it right.
For those who Well, and here's the best pair. I was almost brought this up earlier when we talked about this. The move that he made, and the move that he's doing. Go down the highway and slow down intentionally and let a semi pass you. And have your window down. You will literally feel like a 100-mile-an-hour wind gust just went inside your car. That's what that feels like. So,
you got to try the move.
Yeah.
You got to. You're not just going to ride behind. You got to try and win.
No, absolutely. I agree 100%. So,
I would have never imagined that it was going to work, and darn if you didn't pull them back.
It worked. So now we go to the home track of you, one of your many home tracks, according to people from New Jersey. So, Dover Motor Speedway next week. Looking forward to that. It'll be the next race on the schedule, so make sure you join us 8:15 next week here on the Captain Esports Network, as we are officially in the month of May, and that'll be Sunday and Monday night for the Grand National Series and then the Cup Series Monday night at Dover. Looking forward to that fun. Kev, man, appreciate it. Go get some rest. I know you're tired from today, and we'll see you next week, buddy.
Yep, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And always remember, this isn't just a game. It's iRacing. See ya. You're good.